Hello everybody and welcome to the 16th round of the 2004 AI F1 Challenge series here on F1 Challenge, of course. Yep, we're here for the first race ever at the Shanghai International Circuit, of course in Shanghai, one of the biggest cities in the Chinese region. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to sort out the audio right now because it's loud in my ears and I don't like it being so. There we go. Hello everybody, welcome in FF, Horizon and Auto Expert. We are here with 3 rounds to go with a potential, there we go, 3-way fight to see in this championship. Kimi Raikkonen then took second place at Monza after Michael Schumacher retired, and as such extended his lead from 2 to 10 points in the drivers' standings. Alonso though won the race, so he is more than certainly in this fight now with just 3 rounds to go. Of course, Giorgio Pansino is injured and out for the remainder of the season, so he will not be competing any further in this 2004 season. But yeah, certainly a three horse fight, there we go, between Raikkonen, Schumacher and Alonso. Multiplay for behind, as well as Jarno Trulli and Barrichello both suffered retirements again, so Montoya stays in the top 5, so we'll see if he can hold on to that for the remainder of the season. David Coulthard though, David Coulthard, sorry, is back in the BAR after having an injury sustained at the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Further back, we've got some other driver transfers to talk about as well going into this race, including down at Toyota, as well as an announcement of who will be alongside Rubens Barrichello at Ferrari. Further back then, we've had 27 drivers now scoring points this season, as Timo Glock secured a 4th place, and Pedro De La Rosa all the way up in 12th position now with 12 points. So he has most certainly come to his own in the second half of the season. In the practice session though, it was Jarno Trulli once again at the top of the times, but it was very close at the front of the field. Trulli, Schumacher, Alonso, Raikkonen and Barrichello all separated by less than 4 tenths of the sorry, I'm reading Gallifrey's message. Welcome in as well, Orange Lightning. A 3-way horse is certainly a phrase of all time. A mental image is as amusing as it is horrifying. Yeah. Yes, most definitely. Yeah, so the top 5 were all fairly close with one another, but a lot of drivers were suffering with issues on the pit entry, as we saw a number of drivers obviously crashing, making their way into the pits and crashing into people who were trying to make their way around the final corner. Tarunosuke Takagi, more information on him as we go along, but he took over Fisichella's seat in the practice session and will also be competing in this Grand Prix as the replacement down at Toyota. Further back then, usual suspects really towards the back. Scott Dixon fairly far down, as James Courtney was at the bottom of the pile, just behind one Timo Glock. Without further ado then, Nils is running a little bit late, so we will have to wait and see when he joins. But as of right now, you are unfortunately stuck with me, and yeah, we'll see how this qualifying session pans out, as we've got an hour-long qualifying session and a 56-lap race. Welcome in, Jeffrey. Conditions, they are raining and are proving to potentially worsen for the foreseeable, maybe the next 20 to 30 minutes, so we'll see how that one plays out. So it could be a similar scenario to how it played out in Belgium, where we see a number of drivers actually massively out of position here. So yeah, Takagi did very well in the practice session, as he was just a couple of places behind. Let's go through the news. So first of all, Benoit Trellet handed Chinese Grand Prix ban after Monza chaos. Benoit Trellier has been handed a one-race suspension for the upcoming Chinese Grand Prix, following his involvement in a major multi-car incident during the opening stages of the Italian Grand Prix at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. The FIA confirmed that the Rose Toyota driver would be banned after stewards reviewed the sequence of events that triggered one of the most chaotic moments of the Monza race. The incident began when Benoit Trellier attempted an extremely ambitious move on Boutsen's Patrick Friesacker into the first Lesmo corner. The Frenchman locked up under braking and spun himself around, clipping the rear of the Boutsen and causing damage to Friesacker's rear wing that he would carry on for the remainder of the race. Unable to clear his stricken car from the racing line quickly enough, Benoit was then collected heavily by Scott Dixon, launching the BAR into the barriers in a violent secondary impact. Sato and Button were also involved, as Sato failed to reach the checkered flag because of it, and Jensen Button lingered towards the back. So Benoit Trellier is out, and test and reserve driver at the team, James Courtney, is in. He's been officially confirmed to make his Formula 1 debut for the upcoming Chinese Grand Prix, stepping in for the suspended Benoit Trellier at Rose Toyota. The Australian, who has spent the 2004 season competing in GP2 while also serving as the team's test and reserve driver, now gets his long-awaited opportunity on the Grand Prix grid following Trellier's race ban. Speaking up on his announcement, he was quoted to say, "This is obviously a dream come true for me. Every driver wants a chance to race in Formula 1, and I honestly can't wait to get out there in China. It's never ideal to get your opportunity because of something like this, but I'm going to make the most of it. I've worked very hard this year with the team, and hopefully I can repay the faith they've shown in me." We've shipped in a crate of wine for Mr. Boutsen. Per his request, there are no bottles, only a straw. Just one big barrel of wine. It's got a tankard. Yeah. So we've got the first couple of drivers out there right now. Ralf Schumacher will be the first one to set a lap time, if he can obviously make it around the circuit without having any sort of mechanical issue with his car, and he is setting the benchmark of a 30.5, although has been outpaced by Takuma Sato through the first sector, so we'll wait to see how that one plays out. His compatriot, Teranosuke Takagi, is set to make a surprise return to Formula 1 at the upcoming Chinese Grand Prix after being drafted in by Toyota F1 amid an escalating driver availability crisis. The Japanese driver will partner Riccardo Sperifico for the Shanghai weekend in what is currently confirmed as a one-off appearance. Toyota's driver situation has rapidly deteriorated following the terrifying high-speed accident followed by Giancarlo Fisichella during qualifying at Monza. With the Italian unavailable and several reserve or junior options tied up by existing commitments elsewhere, Toyota were forced to cast a far wider net than initially expected in their search for a replacement. After exploring multiple possibilities, the team eventually turned towards Takagi, whose previous links with Toyota machinery made him an attractive short-term solution. Sato once again outpacing Ralf Schumacher through the first sector, although the German will be the first one across the line to set a benchmark of a 1 minute 53 dead. Takagi is also out there right now, but is not going faster than either one of the two Honda drivers, so we'll wait to see how he compares possibly to Thiago Montero, as he is just 2/10 away from the Japanese driver. Across the line then for Sato, and it is pole position for him, a 52.5. We haven't seen many times this season. That Sato has outqualified Ralf Schumacher, but this could be a potential opportunity for Sato to grab what would be his first point of the season if he is competitive comparative to the rest of the field. How do I get the force feedback to work correctly in this game? Honestly, it just kind of works for me. I don't necessarily have had any issues with it ever. Obviously, it's different compared to what wheel you're on, but the wheels that I've used, the two wheels that I've used in F1 Challenge, work completely fine. So, yeah, I don't know why so many people have issues with the game, but yeah, I don't know what the issue could actually be in terms of that. So yeah, Teranosuke Takagi is indeed filling in for Giancarlo Fisichella after he has had his second massive crash of the season, and it could be time to potentially hang up the racing gloves and the helmet if push comes to shove for Giancarlo Fisichella, which would be a shame, but if it's a necessity for his his health and overall life going forward, then it would have to be such a thing. At the front of the grid, Ferrari secure Felipe Massa on a long-term deal for 2005. Felipe Massa has officially been announced as a Scuderia Ferrari driver for the 2005 Formula 1 season, completing an all-Brazilian lineup alongside Rubens Barrichello. The highly rated 23-year-old has signed a 3-year agreement that will keep him at Maranello until the end of the 2007 campaign, in what many are viewing as one of the most significant driver market moves of the season. Ferrari's decision represents a major vote of confidence in Massa, whose rise through the midfield over the last 2 seasons has firmly established himself as one of the paddock's most promising young talents. After an inconsistent start to his Formula 1 career, including difficult early experiences prior to the Red Bull Racing rebrand, Massa has steadily matured into a fast and aggressive all-around competitor. His performances throughout 2004 in particular have caught Ferrari's attention, with the Brazilian regularly dragging the Red Bull package into strong qualifying positions and crucial points finishes. The Maranello outfit are understood to view Massa as a long-term cornerstone for the future rather than simply a short-term replacement option. Although this marks Massa's first full-time Ferrari race seat, the Brazilian is no stranger to the Italian giants. Massa previously conducted private testing duties for Ferrari back in 2002 before launching his Formula 1 career at Sauber. Those earlier tests left a strong impression within Ferrari management, and the team have continued to monitor his development closely ever since. Speaking after the announcement, Massa described the feeling for the opportunity as a defining moment of his career so far. Driving for Ferrari is something every driver dreams about. To know that I will be a part of this team for the next 3 years is incredible to me. I am much more of a complete driver as to when I started in Formula 1. I still have a lot to learn, but Ferrari believe in me and I want to repay that trust. The new move signals a significant shift in philosophy for Ferrari, who are increasingly looking toward youth as the current championship cycle nears its conclusion. With both titles slipping away in a difficult second half of 2004, the signing of Felipe Massa suggests Ferrari are already beginning preparations for the next generation of success. For Massa himself, meanwhile, the pressure could scarcely be greater. Driving for Ferrari carries on expectations unlike anywhere else in Formula 1, but if recent performances are any indication, the Brazilian now has the perfect stage to prove he belongs among the sport's elite. And of course, with Rubens Barrichello obviously staying at the team, it's almost certain that he will do, and he will not be sacked prior to the 2005 season. It will be interesting to see who actually comes out on that battle between the two Brazilians. Of course, Massa does not have the experience of being at Ferrari, Barrichello being there 1 year. The two obviously great friends as well, so I imagine that they get on fairly well as teammates. But Massa has proved this season that he is a very handy driver in a midfield Red Bull, and we'll see if that can convert into potentially beating his teammate Rubens Barrichello, who has suffered quite poorly against teammate Jarno Trulli. Watching the F2 race at the moment. The race leader has crashed into the wall of champions. It's Van Hoopen. Ah, okay. Jacques Villeneuve kind of getting held up here behind Nick Heidfeld, who has set his first lap. He's in 7th place right now, just behind Teranosuke Takagi. I expect to see improvements in lap times as we go along. We're, of course, we're only 10 minutes in, and only 8 drivers have set lap times so far in the session. Upgrades for China. Basically, Red Bull, of course, have a very unstable car on the rear end. So what's the best way of improving the rear stability? B-spec front wing downforce upgrade. So yeah, beware for the Red Bulls. They could be quite unstable going into this race with their downforce configuration, but that will remain to be seen if it will prove worth it around the long corners at the Shanghai International Circuit. Jacques Villeneuve in the Williams goes behind Nick Heidfeld, ahead of Nick Heidfeld, sorry, and behind Teranosuke Takagi. So not a good lap there for the Canadian. Cristiano Damata also out there, as is Scott Dixon. Will make his way to the final couple of corners. James Courtney as well on his debut qualifying session. So we'll wait to see if he's capable of lifting himself into the top 26. Of course, Rose Toyota have been slipping back in the recent rounds. See more and more failures to qualify. So we'll see if someone as inexperienced as James Courtney will be able to turn the tides for them with a fresh look in the American outfit, but that will remain to be seen as he currently makes his way through the final couple of corners. Everyone, of course, on the intermediate tyres, so no change in strategy as of right now. No wets, no dries, no monsoons, of course. It doesn't look monsoonal at all. And Courtney slowest of all as of right now. I've got to say, Thiago Monteiro has set a blinder of a lap time so far in that Minardi. He's gone fairly competitive compared to the likes of Heidfeld, Villeneuve and Takagi right now, as Cristiano Damata goes 5th fastest. I imagine this will completely change as the session goes along, but Sato still at the top of the timing sheets as of right now. Jean-Christophe Bouillon out there right now, as well as Alex Young. We'll watch the Renault driver on his first lap of the session in the Renault. Of course, he secured a 5th place finish in Monza, which wasn't a bad result. Matches, actually, his results at the same circuits 9 years prior, of course, for Sauber. Jean-Christophe Bouillon, I forgot to put his voice file in again, goes to the top of the timing sheet, but only just ahead of Takuma Sato. Ralf Schumacher, though, is purple through the first sector, and quite a margin above anyone else right now. So I imagine as we see the session go on, times will likely drop due to the fact that conditions may be improving, as Ralf Schumacher fastest through the second sector as well. It looks on course to potentially take this even possibly under the 1 minute 50 barrier, so this could be a good lap here that could put Ralf Schumacher multiple seconds at the top of the timing sheets. Alex Young, however, not faring the same sort of treatment on his lap, as he's the best part of 7 seconds down through the first 2/3 of the circuit. 11 degrees air temperature right now. Very cold day in it's not the Chinese capital, is it? It's probably the second largest city, I think, in China. Shanghai, behind Beijing, of course. And Ralf Schumacher will make his way across the line. And it is into the 1 minute 40s, a 48.8. As that is Alex Young pulling off to the side of the road with some sort of issue to his car. Not exactly sure what's just happened there to the Malaysian. We'll get a replay of that. Looks like the suspension's gone, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the suspension's gone there for Alex Young. And unfortunately, he is going to have to walk back to the pits and find himself in the spare car, potentially. Where are we? Takagi. He's up in 9th place. Let's go find him. There he is. No, he was on a lap. No, that was the suspension failure, by the looks of it. Because the engine was still running, Jeffrey, so... He was here for a good time, not a long time, yeah. I forgot to ask, by the way, how is everyone doing on this very hot and humid Sunday afternoon? It is... quickly rising the temperature in this room towards me. Actually, let me sort that out a second. There we go. Takagi to the front row. I don't think you should be able to hear my fan. No, it doesn't seem so. It is just too hot. Yeah, I agree. It is uncomfortably warm, and unfortunately, from what I saw on the weather forecast, it's looking to increase by 7 Celsius tomorrow, which I just cannot be bothered with. I'm so glad that tomorrow I'm not streaming, because I don't think I would be able to. It is too hot, man. It is way too hot. Like I can touch the wall that's directly in front of me, and the wall is warm because the sun is just beaming down on it right now. It's just so warm. I don't know what to say. It's just hot. It's just hot. So the only way to take my focus off it is, of course, do this. Do commentary for the 2004 Chinese Grand Prix, and if you do enjoy, be sure to like the stream and subscribe if you want to see the final 2 races of this, or final 3 races, because we actually haven't watched this. The final 3 races of this championship play out. I also need to grab a link for that. Let me grab that 1 second. As well, I need to put out a post for this because I just forgot to do it. So let me pull the stream up on my phone. So we have got a straw poll going on right now for where I should move in 1995 in the career mode. If you don't know what that is, there's also a video series on this channel where we have been competing in a Formula 1 Challenge driver career since the year 1993, and today is the last day that you can vote on the straw poll. So if you're interested in voting and want to change where I could potentially go for the 1995 season, be sure to vote on the poll. There he is, Montero. Found him finally. Currently just over 8 seconds off the pace. He'll make his way across the line to move up to 5th position ahead of Thiago Montero. A cracking lap there as it puts him just 2.5 seconds away from Ralf Schumacher in the Honda. I expect though that the conditions are indeed improving for a lot of these teams and drivers, so we should see yeah, quite a dynamic change in the order of the qualifying session, as Alex Young, he cannot be stopped. The A train cannot be stopped. He's out there again, the Alex train. Fernando Alonso out there. He's currently slower than Ralf Schumacher through the first sector. I'm so used to saying Michael Schumacher when I see someone at the top of the timing sheets. I think, yeah, Michael Schumacher. No, today it is Ralf Schumacher as of right now. His teammate his brother Michael, his brother Michael is out there on circuit as well right now. Although I don't know if he's on a lap. Alonso not quite as fast as the German through the first 2 sectors, as Rubens Barrichello also going for a first push lap of the session. Nowhere near as fast as Alonso is through that first part of the lap. Alonso 29.4 and Barrichello a further 9/10 behind. So Barrichello not looking likely that he's going to be setting the timing sheets alight, at least on this first lap. Probably just an installation lap more than anything. But we shall see how that plays out, essentially. I'm just checking Discord every couple of minutes to see where Nils is, because he said he was running a little bit late, which is perfectly fine. Alonso then, purple in the final sector actually, but he has not been able to go as fast as Ralf Schumacher, so he remains, well, rather moves up to 2nd position ahead of Teranosuke Takagi. Friesaka going for his 2nd lap in the session, as Villeneuve again looking to be potentially held up here by Antonio Pizzonia in the Brabham. And he's quite considerably down, the Brazilian there. So we'll watch on board a lap with Alex Yoong, the greatest Malaysian driver there ever was in Formula 1. We don't talk about how many Malaysian drivers there were in Formula 1, as Barrichello, slower than a Minardi, so that's absolute Ferrari heritage right there. As Patrick Friesacker is improving on his lap, Alex Yoong makes his way down this main straight up to about 300 kilometers an hour, very low drag setup. A lot of the teams and drivers have gone for in this session. And then you've got this long, ever winding corner through turns 1 and 2. Make sure that the tyres don't go off, especially on the left-hand side. They could very easily be worn and overheat through that first section. Then out of there through turns 3 and 4. And then it's the fast, flat right-hander of turn 5 into the heavy braking zone of turn 6 we expect here, as well as turn 1 to be the main overtaking opportunities in the first bit of the lap. Then you've got this fast flowing section. Turn 7 then almost flat, probably isn't in these intermediate conditions, as Friesacker goes third fastest. Michael Schumacher also purple through each of the first 2 sectors, as Alex Yoong continues through turns 8, 9. It slowly tightens up, and then you get a burst of power out of here in turn 10. Of course, for these drivers in the wet, it's very difficult to get the power down, and then another overtaking opportunity could present themselves if they stay close enough for turn 11. Turn 12, quite similar to the first section of corners, as it's a long, winding corner onto the biggest straight, I believe, in Formula 1 as of right now. Michael Schumacher then to the top of the timing sheets to make it an all-Schumacher front row lockout. As of right now, Alex Yoong then up to about 322 kilometers an hour before getting on the brakes at about 125 meters, down to first gear, basically almost coming to a crawl through the hairpin, and then through in towards, I believe this is turn 16, which is a fast left-hander, quite flowing. If you can get it right as well, you should be able to get a run in towards turn 1 on another driver, and that is a lap of the Shanghai International Circuit, as Alex Yoong goes 12th fastest with a 1:53.5. And that's probably about as coherent as the stream's going to get all day. Jacques Villeneuve then goes 7th fastest. Michael Schumacher still going ground, pumping in fastest sectors, as he is a 10.5 up on his previous best through the first 2 sectors. Nicolas Manassian as well should be on course for a drastic improvement in his lap time, as he is down in 16th position and the best part of 10 seconds off the pace. Michael Schumacher currently has what seems to be a Toyota directly in front of him. It is a Toyota. It is Riccardo Sferifico, who is yet to confirm himself as a Formula 1 driver for 2005, but I expect that Ferrari will probably, Toyota, sorry, will probably hold on to him for yet another season. Michael Schumacher across the line got held up a little bit by Sferifico, and as such fails to find an improvement. Alex Yoong, Sato and Glock also trying to find improvements, as Glock struggles through the second sector. It is of course his first lap in the session, so we expect him to probably not go as fast as where we expect him to be, but Sato is only 8 tenths down for the first 2 sectors, so he could potentially be challenging his teammate Ralf Schumacher once again. And for one of the first times this season, it seems that Sato has got his head completely around a circuit and looks to potentially challenge his world champion teammate. Of course, Ralf Schumacher, for the time being, is the reigning world champion and will remain so out of this Grand Prix, as even if Kimi Raikkonen wins the race and Michael Schumacher fails to score points, the gap would be 20 points. But remember the countback rule. Kimi Raikkonen would only have 1 win to his name to Schumacher's 6. So if Schumacher then won the next 2 races with Raikkonen pointless, then Schumacher would win the championship on countback. Sato then across the line as he goes on to the front row of the grid. Riccardo Sferifico also out there right now in the Toyota. Yes, I've got streamer mode on. There we go. Hello.
Hello.
It's Nils, guys. It's that guy who does the commentary... I couldn't think of anything witty. It's too hot.
Oh god, yeah. Oh, my fan is not noticeable at the moment.
Oh, I didn't put the livery in for Benny. Oh, I forgot.
Oh.
Because I was so obsessed with trying to get the track to work, I kind of just forgot everything else. Right. I'm going to put a reminder on my phone. Michael Schumacher's just improved on his lap time again. Esperifico sets a lap time good enough for 14th place on his first lap in this session.
Jung is improving.
He is improving. There you go. Put a reminder on my phone for 35 minutes. So I will remember to put it on for the race. I actually haven't seen it yet, so I'll do that during the intermission between the qualifying and the race. But as of right now, halfway through the session, we've only seen 20 drivers set lap times, including Alex Young, who goes 15th on his next lap. Nicholas Manassian looking to find improvement. He's up in 5th place right now.
Nearly 1.5 times up on his personal best as Michael goes even faster through the middle sector. Improving further on currently Takuma Sato in 2nd, ahead of his teammate for once.
Yeah, the problem is, though, with this potential strategy of Michael Schumacher just pumping in lap after lap after lap, it could present a problem if it does improve in the conditions later on in the session, that Michael Schumacher just doesn't have any laps left to actually set a lap time in more competitive conditions, but foresight will be needed to figure out what the forecast is planning on doing for the remaining 32 minutes and 54 seconds. But what we do know is that Nicholas Manassian is onto the front row and Michael Schumacher goes even faster.
Hopefully he realizes that he has to pit at one point, at least to maybe keep a lap if it's drying up completely. Julian now is stuck behind, I think the soon-to-be... No, actually it's Mark Webber in front. Not the soon-to-be Ferrari driver Felipe Massa.
Yep. I've already gone through all the news, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah, so Jean-Christophe Bouillon would like to extend his point streak of 1 that he got in the Italian Grand Prix on his return to racing for the first time since early 2003. Of course, this is probably one of, if not the most competitive car that he's ever driven in Formula 1. Although, he's not finding an improvement through the second sector, as he was held up by the Australian through the second part of the lap, who looked, I can't lie, pretty shaky with that upgraded front wing on his Red Bull.
I mean, what do we expect, as the Red Bull was unstable already, now with a even better front wing, but no like rear wing upgrades and so on. It's just setting up the car to be more unbalanced than anything.
Thiago Monteiro having the qualifying session of his life right now, as he is potentially looking to try and get himself into the 1 minute 50s perhaps. He's on a 1 minute 51.3 right now and up in 12th position ahead of a Ferrari, a Toyota, a BAR, an Opel as well as Pitoni and the Brabham. So quite a number of names that he is ahead of right now, although we do expect a lot of those drivers to go quite a bit faster. But for Monteiro, he'll go across the line. It's a 51.0, which is an improvement of 0.3, and stays in 12th position. Friesacker's having a solid outing right now, 0.5 ahead of his teammate, who is in 8th place as of right now, and kind of been showing him up in recent rounds, but we do know that neither of them will be on the Formula 1 grid, at least for Boutsen, in 2005, with a lot of the doors closing up and down the grid for at least Ricardo Zonta, because, of course, Patrick Friesacker is driving for Dams next season, alongside Nicholas Manassian. Do you expect to see Ricardo Zonta in any form of race seat for next season?
I mean, with the current condition of Fisichella, he could be one for Toyota, considering they probably need a replacement for the Italian. currently substituting with Torazuki Takagi, but I feel like Zonta might be a good shout for them.
I believe as well, Ricardo Zonta did used to be the Toyota test and reserve driver back in... I'd like to be inclined to say 2000 and... Actually, don't know. Was it
I mean, he
03?
was in real life. He was
03.
from real life. He was from 03 till 05.
Yep. I think in this career mode he was in 03 and then switched over to Boutsen. As Cristiano D'Amata seems to be running into some problems. And he seems to have had a fairly sizable crash. So let's see what has happened with the Brazilian. Obviously, Jaguar have had a pretty big smash with, I believe it was Jensen Button in practice, as he was collected by, I think, Nick Heidfeld. That's a recollection. As here is Cristiano D'Amata, brake failure into the third sector and into the tyre barrier there. He should be fine to carry on to the race, but that is going to set him back quite considerably, as... yeah, a lot of parts are being used by Jaguar right now. Hopefully they don't go through too many more, or they may just have to withdraw a car or two. I did not mean to do that. Hopefully I haven't just pit-bugged someone coming to the pits. That seems to be fine. James Courtney back out there on circuit once more, as his teammate Justin Wilson really needs to justify that he deserves to be on the Formula 1 grid. Him alongside... Benoit Trellier have certainly had their fair share of incidents this season, fair share of crashes, lack of pace, lack of results, and if James Courtney proves to be possibly what the Rose Toyota team needs, then he could potentially replace one of them maybe throughout 2005. Of course, Justin Wilson and Benoit Trellier both signed 2-year deals at the start of 2004, so they will both be sticking around for next season at the team. But it remains to be seen what is happening with James Courtney. Rumours are, though, that he will be moving to the main Toyota team in a test and reserve driver role after not being given an opportunity at the Rose Toyota team, which... yeah, he's kind of still a bit underbaked, but clearly Toyota have seen something good in him to take him away from their customer team. Obviously, got to be a much more enticing offer to be in a upper midfield car compared to being towards the back. His teammate, as I say, is out there on circuit right now, making his way through the final sector.
I mean, his results in F3 season were also quite, well, middling at best. And therefore, it would make sense that... Was he in F3 or was it GP2?
GP2 this season. He was in
GP2,
F3 in
yeah.
03 and finished second place in the championship.
Okay, then I got it mixed up. But anyway, currently in the GP2 season, he's sitting like in 9th on 22 points. Could possibly have done better, could have possibly done worse, but I feel like he probably would benefit from sitting another season in junior category, honing his craft even further, than rather getting fast-tracked into a backmarker team where essentially you have to be on it ASAP, considering you have to get the car to qualify first, and therefore it makes sense that if he's staying with one of the Toyota power teams, it's probably in a reserved or a test driver role.
Scott Dixon out there right now, as is Juan Pablo Montoya, who looks to be on his first lap. James Courtney improves on his lap time up to 17th position, but not as fast as Minardi's Alex Young nor Thiago Monteiro. So, could be a tough situation for him to qualify if that's all the pace that he has got in this session. Of course, we still do have just under 25 or just over 25 minutes to go in the session. So Yeah, I expect the times to quickly change, as I actually missed that David Coulthard went onto the front row of the grid. He's just come across the line now again. And, yeah, he's back in a Formula 1 seat, replacing the outgoing Tom Coronel, who's their, obviously, test and reserve driver. His teammate, Scott Dixon, of course, will not be at BAR for next season, nor will David Coulthard himself. And the two of them, if they want to stay on the Formula 1 grid, will have to look elsewhere. Potentially both be options as well for Toyota if Giancarlo Fisichella weren't to race in 2005. I have forgotten to put the livery on, Casey, but I do have a reminder on my phone to do so for the race. What game is it, by the way, that you were doing your league racing on? Because I know you were saying it was it LFM? Is that AMS2, I think. I don't know. LFM do a lot of stuff, don't they?
Should be AMS2. Well, no.
Rubens Barrichello across the line. And another lap. He's only managed to split the two Hondas. So maybe in these wet conditions, the Hondas are really coming alive, especially in the hands of Takuma Sato.
We saw that in Belgium as well, with Ralph also topping the timing pages for considerable lap of times. So, as it seems, Honda have cracked maybe the code in the wet conditions, but with 24 minutes to go, and I think the rain actually intensifying once again. The lap times might increase in terms of gaps as well.
A team that struggles a lot in the wet conditions is last time's podium sitter Opel, with Pedro de la Rosa and Timo Glock, of course. The team often find themselves on the back foot in the rain after having fairly poor downforce overall throughout most of their departments. It seems that their prowess really is straight line speed at the team. Montoya, though, is pretty much the opposite. BMW, with these new regulation of engines, have kind of struggled this season. That doesn't mean to say that Williams have also not struggled with this Walrus design. It clearly has not worked for them, so probably they'll be back onto a regular convention of front wing for 2005 when that rolls around. But we do know that BMW aren't with Williams for 2005. They're with Dams for next year. And also, we still don't know what's going to be powering them next season. There's still 3 rounds to go, and it's still undecided on what their power unit will be. Of course, there are many an option. Opel out there, possibly. It would be an interesting option, to say the least, moving from one German manufacturer to the other, as Montoya goes 16th on his first lap, just behind Thiago Montero. There's also the option of potentially signing Ford, yeah, I guess. Maybe an Audi customer team. Who knows? I'm sure, though, that they'll figure something out, as one of the biggest teams in Formula 1 history surely can't go into the 2005 without an engine supplier. As Montoya, like I say, the Colombian in 16th position. We'll see if, where is he? Pedro de la Rosa can improve on the Colombian's position of, Jensen Button also out there on circuit right now, as is championship leader Kimi Raikkonen. He leads by 10 points in the driver's standings, which would mean a win for him today and a non-points finish for nearest championship rival and teammate Michael Schumacher would put the lead to 20 points. However, the championship would not be sealed, as on countback Michael Schumacher could still potentially take victory, as he has way more wins than Kimi Raikkonen this season. Schumacher with 6 and Raikkonen somehow still with no victories in 2004. Welcome in, David. I am doing... I feel like the blueberry pancake PNG that's on the side of this candle. The butter that's on it is melting, and I also feel like melting. Yeah. So, yeah, very warm is what I feel like.
Pedro de la Rosa, in the meantime, goes to only 23rd. 2 seconds nearly ahead of his teammate, but still in trouble considering drivers and faster cars behind him are still yet to set at least a second or a first flyer. Jensen Button, in the meantime, jumps now to 22nd ahead of his teammate who gone out in a spare car.
Yet to see lap times from Trulli, Raikkonen, Furman and Massa, but the second of which is out there on circuit right now, looking to potentially take himself towards his teammate, who currently still sits on pole position by 0.8 of a second. Seems that no one has really gotten close to Michael Schumacher in this session. As the other regular frontrunners, Barrichello, Alonso, kind of lackluster. Bouillon down the order in 14th. Montoya after one lap down in 16th. So yeah, I imagine that it'll all shake out eventually as we head into the final third of this qualifying session. Raikkonen with the first sector time of a 30.8.
And the question chat quite interesting. I'm not sure if Williams Cosworth would horrify me more than or less than Williams Mechachrome, considering Williams had in real life 2006 Cosworth engines and from 2010 till 2011.
Renault. Now that I think about it, Renault could be another option potentially.
Would be, yes.
If
could be a possible reunion between the two parties.
If, of course, Flavio Briatore would allow such a deal to happen with a direct rival.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two have been fairly close in the previous. How were the top 5 drivers so far this season? What does that mean, Benny?
Are you on with us?
Timo Glock improving by 2.5 seconds. Fairly similar lap time actually to Kimi Raikkonen on his first lap as he goes across the line to set a 1:54.3, which puts him. Who were the top 5 drivers in this season, in my opinion? Right. So,
okay.
Number 5. Kimi Raikkonen. Number 5, Kimi Raikkonen. Number 4.
Okay.
Let me think about this. I'll get back to you with a definitive list in when it reaches 10 minutes. So
I will think about it as well.
I need to think about it. I need to ponder. I need to also find Timo Glock, and I'm struggling to do so. He's gone up to 22nd. That pushes Antonio Pizzoni now down into the drop zone as the slowest driver on the set of lap time so far. Let me think of it.
I have my top 5.
You give your top 5 then.
Okay, in number 5 I have also Kimi. In 4th, I have Jacques Villeneuve. In 3rd, I have Juan Pablo Montoya. In 2nd, I have Pedro Della Rosa. And 1st, Michael Schumacher.
Okay. I've got 4 right now. Not sure what order to put them in. So, let me think. So, 5th place is David Coulthard. 4th, Jacques Villeneuve. 3rd, Sartre's on the wets. Oh, the conditions may not be improving.
The rain has intensified, and that's a disaster for Jarno Trulli, actually.
3rd, Ralph Furman. 2nd, Michael Schumacher. And 1st, Juan Pablo Montoya.
Why aren't Trulli, Furman, and Massa not on track? Who knows? Car
Maybe
not firing up or something.
Yeah, maybe
else.
some mechanical issue or something along the lines of that. It could possibly present an interesting bottom four here, as we currently look at the two Minardis, who are often the punching bag for the rest of their field. Montero 15th, Alex Young
Not again.
19th. Could we potentially see a double qualification again in wet conditions for the Minardi team? That is
for Villeneuve.
hello.
Interesting.
That's an Opel facing backwards in the pit lane.
Without a rear wing as well.
That is with the rear wing. Is it?
No.
Yeah. It's got a rear wing.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
There it is.
Anyway, with Pedro De La Rosa second, he got a podium and two other points finishes with a fourth as well. In a car that is quite frankly abysmal in every sense, but engine power.
Yeah, I think if we went for the first 7 or 8 races, I'd probably put Coulthard first. Honestly, in the season rankings, but yeah, he's he's been injured, hasn't he? He's also not been scoring too many points before he got injured either. He finished like 14th or something in Austria as well. So
yes,
yeah, he's kind of fallen away as the season's gone on. But his start to the season was electrifying. He was actually nearly in the championship lead at points. So
yeah, I have Villeneuve in my top 5 because, well, he scored in every race bar the last time in Italy.
That's true, actually. Pantano's an option as well. I'd say.
Is he?
I'd say so, yeah. Potentially.
I still feel like Montoya and Trulli would be better options.
I'd say Trulli, De La Rosa, Pantano. Maybe a Nick Heidfeld in the top 10, maybe. Sperafico, another one.
Oh, Sperafico definitely is a shout.
Ricardo Zonta, maybe. He's kind of turned the team around at Boutsen. Alex Young.
More than that. Yeah, Alex Young, I guess.
You have to think it comparatively with the car that they've had, you know?
Yeah.
It's difficult to say. I should make a definitive driver ranking. Why is Young 19th? Because the conditions are worsening, and Young in 19th, Montero in 15th have set their lap times in good conditions. A lot of drivers now out there on wet tyres. Trulli, Furman and Massa now all out there on track. Furman beginning his only now first lap in the session with just 13 minutes to go.
Now, if we would rank the top, like the 5 worst drivers of the season, who do you have there?
I'd have both Rose Toyota drivers in it. Maybe a Barrichello. Cristiano D'Amata. Dan Weldon is another one. Marc Genet. It's kind of a nitpick. That one is a reserve driver.
I mean, Marc Genet, nobody expected him to do well, so...
Yeah.
So, my bottom 5 would be starting with... probably...
Sato could be one, actually.
Sato would be quite considerable, actually. Also, Furman is being held up there by Ralf Schumacher. Anyway, I would have Barrichello as my bottom pick. Because
as the worst driver this season?
Yes.
Wow.
Compared to his teammate, when Trulli finished, Trulli was either first or second. Meanwhile, Barrichello has a 12th finish sprinkled in. Probably Sato. Then Dan Weldon. D'Amata. I would say Benoit Trollier as well.
Yeah. Furman across the line. This is not a good lap at all for him. He is in the bottom 4 and well in it. He's probably completely mired by
Trulli
the...
is also further down on Pedro de la Rosa. Trulli is maybe out.
This could be a huge scalp in this qualifying session. With the conditions massively worsening towards the end of this session, could we potentially see a Ferrari fail to qualify for the first time ever? Oh, towards the line for De La Rosa. He's put Button into the bottom 4. So we could see Jenson Button also fail to qualify for the first time ever.
Brabham is qualifying. What do we on about, huh? Oh, it's FF. What do I expect?
Across the line for Trulli. It's 28th. The conditions are worsening.
If he's not finding any time, that being 3 seconds essentially, he's not qualifying.
I don't think Webber's been awful. I'd say he's been...
Car's just awful.
I'd say he's been mediocre, honestly.
I mean, looking at the car, the car is literally undrivable in high-speed corners, so I don't count the Red Bull drivers as being worse, because they have pretty shit machinery. Massa ahead of Furman. But I feel like qualifying is essentially over now.
No. Button's out there on circuit again. He could potentially find an improvement on this lap. We'll get the times up. He needs to find 0.2 of a second on this next lap. So this is all or nothing then for Jenson Button in this session. Pedro de la Rosa has laid the gauntlet down. He is 1/10.5 in front. And he needs to... If he's not out there setting another lap time, he could potentially find himself in danger. He is not setting another lap time. Pitsonia is also out there. Justin Wilson in the first sector, down by 0.6, so he's not finding time. Mark Webber is, meanwhile, he's in 23rd, so he probably will lift himself out. Kimi Raikkonen could be caught out the top. Yeah, he could be caught outside the top 20 here if he doesn't find a worldie of an improvement.
As there's thunder now around the circuit, as I'm going to say, once again, Boutsen and Minardi get the conditions right.
Yep.
Frisaka is sitting 8th.
Both Bootsens are in the top 10. Takagi, on his return to Formula 1, is up in 9th position right now. This is a chaotic session. Bear in mind, you look at 3rd place Mansato. He's scored no points this season, and he is 3rd, behind just Coulthard and Michael Schumacher. So this could be an absolute chaos. This could even be more messed up than even potentially Belgium in terms of the qualifying order here today.
Oh, it definitely will be, because we have Raikkonen currently sitting in 21st. Then Montoya in 16th, with Bouillon in 14th. The 3 quick cars in the lower half of the grid, or the mid-pack, with then Sato, Frisaka, Takagi possibly, and Sonta sprinkled into maybe hold up the grid. So will be interesting to see how Raikkonen fares in the race after this qualifying session, because he's definitely not improving.
So Raikkonen failing to improve through either of the first 2 sectors, also getting held up a little bit by Ralf Schumacher. The Finn, the championship leader, is going to be at best 21st on the grid. His teammate, Michael Schumacher, 10 points behind on pole position. Coulthard can't find time at all. He's set a 1:56. So the lap times are about... Yep. The lap times are about 10 seconds off the regular pace right now. Alonso down by 5 seconds on his lap. Montero down. Frisaka down. Most crucially, Jenson Button down as well. We'll see what the second sector split is. 7/10 down on his previous best. He needs to find a load of time in this last sector, about a second, if he wants to punish the Spaniard here of Pedro de la Rosa and take the podium sitter of last race out of qualifying. So for Jenson Button in the Jaguar, it's down to him or De La Rosa, I believe, to take his place in the top 26. Jarno Trulli almost certainly out, as is Felipe Massa and Ralf Furman. Trulli and Furman out for the first time this season in qualifying. Massa would be the second time this season, but the first time on sheer pace. Jenson Button would also be the first time on sheer pace. Rounding the final corner then for the Briton of Jenson Button, and it does not look like it is enough for the Jaguar to take top 26. It is not 10 seconds off the provisional pole time. A 57.1 is not going to cut it at all for one Jenson Button, and he is out. Furman is trying all that he might be able to do in this session as he exits the pit lane for one last glory run to see if he could potentially lift himself up the order ever so slightly. But this has been a fantastic session if you're a fan of Minardi, Boutsen, and especially Honda. 3rd and 5th right now for the two Japanese cars, with Sato sat ahead of his teammates up in 3rd position.
It'll be interesting to see how the grid will shape in the race as well, with multiple quick drivers at the back now, and obviously Jarno Trulli out in this qualifying session. Well, definitely out, because I don't think he's finding 3 seconds in these conditions, and therefore also 100% out of the championship fight.
Yes, he was, I believe, 29 points actually behind in the drivers' standings with 3 races to go. And with this, he's not going to set a lap time. He's gone back out there on the wets, which is interesting considering we're watching Furman, who's just come out on the circuit 30 seconds ago. He's on the full wets, as is Pedro de la Rosa. So we'll see if that differing strategy can pay dividends for one of those guys, although it is an uphill battle for all those involved. Massa out there on circuit once more. They're all going to try and find the time, but is it too little too late? I would say probably yes, as Massa is out there on the full wet tyres.
I think there's anything really for any team to do at this point. Probably best to have their drivers sit in a garage and preserve their cars rather than sending them out in those tricky conditions now.
So here we go then with Ralph Furman. He has to find about 5.5 seconds to find himself up ahead of Pedro de la Rosa, who is currently residing in 26th place. It's going to be a tough ask, but, you know, Ralph Furman has often been one of the strongest qualifiers of the season, and if anyone's going to do it, it could be him. Jarno Trulli also out there right now on the wet tyres, so we'll see if that tyre decision could potentially make or break his entire season as a whole.
James Courtney now out on full wets as well.
He is improving through the first sector. Okay, so it's a 31.3 from him. We'll check Montoya's time as well. He could be a general indicator of what lap time we could be looking out for the Irishman, who is in 30th place right now. Pedro de la Rosa down by 0.6, and he is 0.3 slower than Furman. So Furman 0.3 down on de la Rosa through the first sector. It's a 56 for Montoya, which would not be enough to lift Furman out of the bottom 4. But as of right now, he is up by 3.5 seconds. He needs to find about 2.5 more seconds through this last sector. Trulli is... He's not as fast as Furman. The wets certainly seem slower than the full wets as of right now, as he's 0.5 down on the Irishman and looks almost certainly to be knocked out for the first time in qualifying. But for Ralph Furman, he's going to power his way towards the hairpin. Will this be enough to send De La Rosa out and Furman through? His teammate Manassian sitting pretty up in 6th place right now, just 2 seconds away from pole position. But this could be decisive for potentially even the constructors if Dams want to catch Toyota and BAR before the end of the season. It's only 28th. He is out of the session. Trulli is 7 seconds down through the first 2 sectors. He needs to basically match Michael Schumacher through this last sector if he wants any chance of making it through, and it seems like that is going to be more than a tall order for the Italian.
I think the Italian, even though he has probably the talent for it, will get close to even qualifying at this point. as it would be for the first time since I think 1980 that a Ferrari has not qualified for a race.
A quarter of a century of history has been broken here as Trulli is 29th. He is out in this qualifying session. Jarno Trulli has failed to qualify. Jenson Button is just now coming out the pit lane to try and go for another lap, but it's too little too late. Felipe Massa also out there on the full wet. We'll see if he can lift himself out of the bottom 4, but if Jarno Trulli can't, I don't think anyone else will be able to in a similar situation, including Ferrari-bound Felipe Massa across the line for the Red Bull, and it's 29th place only. So, there is your bottom 4, unless Ralph Furman is on another lap. We'll see if he is or not. He seems like he's pushing along at a fairly solid pace here. He isn't. He's making his way into the in-lap. So that is your bottom 4. Jenson Button, Ralph Furman, Felipe Massa and Jarno Trulli in the Ferrari for the first time in 24 seasons fails to qualify for a race. Absolute scenes here at the inaugural race at the Shanghai International Circuit, but it is Michael Schumacher on pole position ahead of David Coulthard on the front row. A fantastic qualifying session for the BAR on his return. Sato, career best qualifying position for him as he qualifies ahead of Rubens Barrichello. Those two were on similar conditions as well, so Barrichello needs to find answers as he's now the only Ferrari left to carry the torch, with Ralf Schumacher directly behind in the second Honda. Nicolas Minassian, Fernando Alonso and Patrick Friesacker complete the top 8 with returnee Takagi in the Toyota. Fantastic from him in 9th. And the second Boutsen of Ricardo Zonta completes the top 10. Dixon 11th, Villeneuve 12th, Heidfeld 13th, Bouillon 14th. And plaudits to Thiago Montero, 15th place for him. His second start in Formula 1 will be here at the Chinese Grand Prix, ahead of Juan Pablo Montoya on the 8th row. Then comes Sferifico, D'Amata, Alex Young makes it 2 Minardis onto the grid. James Courtney on his debut, completing the top 20 ahead of championship leader Kimi Raikkonen, Timo Glock, Mark Webber, Justin Wilson, Antonio Pizzonia and Pedro de la Rosa all make the top 26. And like I say, Button, Furman, Massa and Trulli out. Would you say this has potentially topped the Belgian Grand Prix in terms of shocking qualifying?
Definitely. Considering we didn't have like a shock bottom 4, only driver there was Fisichella. Now we have 3 drivers who constantly were at the pointy end or more pointy end of the standings. Now with Jarno Trulli, definitely Ralph Furman and Massa, decent midfield runner. And now also Raikkonen 21st, Montoya 16th. So mixed up grid all around with Friesacker sitting in 8th and Takuma Sato out-qualifying Rubens Barrichello and Ralf Schumacher of all people. Considering he was nowhere the entire season, so definitely tops Belgium, even though Belgium was already a crazy qualifying session.
So there you go, guys. Qualifying has been completed, and there's only one thing left to do now, and that's go to the race. 56 laps of the Shanghai International Circuit will be in a couple minutes. We'll be right back. Okie dokie, we are back with the first race. Well, not the first Chinese Grand Prix, but it is the first Chinese Grand Prix at the Shanghai International Circuit. And you can clearly see it is raining once more. Every team and driver seemingly on the wet tyres as of right now. We'll see, though, if the conditions will improve. Other teams will go for potentially intermediates for the start of the race, or if it's worse, of course, they could go for the full wet, also known as the monsoons. But no drivers were disqualified in qualifying, which means that the bottom four stays as it is, with Button, Furman, Massa, and Trulli all failing to qualify. That is official. Both Minardi's through, both Bootson's through, both Hondas in the top 5. It's the same crazy grid that we saw in qualifying repeated here today. Michael Schumacher then will start from pole position. His championship rivals, Alonso, 3 points behind, in 7th, and Raikkonen, teammate, 10 points ahead, down in 21st position. Predictions in the chat then for who you think will win the Chinese Grand Prix of 2004. And while everyone predicts that, I'm going to go get a drink. I would suggest you do so considering it is quite warm, so 2 minutes.
Anywho, chat, as Michael is now heading to the grid, put your top 3 for the race in the chat. I love just in time. What's for dinner? Gallifrey, what do you have for us today? Sonta winning, of course. The Bootson, who had too much wine, will say that. Sonta free sucker pit. Oh hell nah! Keep Pitsonia away. I did a selling lap 18 for Calbush. That's nice. Roasted chicken this week with usual potatoes, veg, and homemade grape. Nice. That's a scrum. And Ryan Hunter Ray, big crash on the back straight on lap 18. Are they okay? Wait, where were the Chinese Grand Prix before this one? Where was it? Zhuhai. How far behind? Thought I saw the accident already. Thought for a second it was a different one.
Oh my word, it is searing in this room. It's so much cooler in the rest of the house. For like the next 2 minutes or so, I'm going to put my fan on max and point it straight at me and just have myself muted.
I have it fully on max right behind me.
Because I feel like you could probably hear the fan now.
No.
Supposedly not.
I can't.
How is that not picking up? That is... I've got gale force winds being blown at my face right now. I don't know if it's like echoing or not. It might be. Oh, that is some nice breeze. It's a shame though. It's just blowing warm breeze into me. So it's not really that helpful because it's that warm in this room. But I don't want to open the window because it's the curtains are shut because it's just going to be even more of a greenhouse in here.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, it's too hot. But so just waiting for the last few drivers to make their way onto the grid. And for once, it looks like both Renaults aren't last. I say that. Where is Bully on here yet? Yes, he is. Oh my god, we're waiting on not a Renault! No way! But I'll have it pointed directly at me this time. Okie dokie. Before I spontaneously combust, please get in line Toranosuke Takagi, who starts up in 9th place. We have got 26 drivers ahead of the lights for 2004 Chinese Grand Prix. I believe everyone got their things in, and I think a lot of people supposedly have been voting for the Bootsons to win, which is a mood. Of course, actually, before we go into the race, we've also got new livery. We got the Outrun 2 sponsorship on the Opel. So there you go. Courtesy of Benny. Takagi Aura farming. Anyway, let's get this race underway. 3 rounds to go in the 2004 championship, and there's only one champion that can take it. Will it be Raikkonen? Will it be Alonso? Or will it be Michael Schumacher taking his record 6th crown? Let's find out. Oh, there's no grid rundown. Absolutely.
Oh, there's no grid rundown.
Absolutely perfect. Right, here we go then, guys. 56 laps ahead of the drivers. And the lights are green. There's racing to be seen. I think everyone's got off the line well, especially Michael Schumacher, who's pulled away from David Coulthard.
With a good start.
Yes, Sartor with a fantastic start. As up the inside, Nicolas Minassian from 6th place on the grid. Could he potentially take 1, 2, 3, 4 places up the inside of Coulthard? A fantastic start for the Frenchman.
Minassian up to 2nd. In the meantime, further back, multiple drivers have made up positions as well. Dixon up to 11th as we head now down to the next opportunity for potential overtakes to be made. Down the inside, possibly in turn 5 it should be. As Villeneuve is now up into 8th position. Alonso outside the points.
Let's get a replay then, because I think James Courtney lost a lot of time off that start. The Australian did start up in 20th position, and now he's down to 26th? Yeah, last place.
Gets away cleanly, then tries to have a look there on the Toyota, I think of...
Oh, he's lost it on the...
loses it and collides with his teammate, and then further collision there behind. I think that was the Mata collecting him.
Let's also get a replay of... Oh, what?
Oh no, replay glitch.
But we were past the start. Like, whatever. Oh. Restart! That didn't happen.
Somebody stalls now.
Apologies for the screen flickering there. That's annoying. But for the first time definitely today, the lights are green. There's racing to be seen. Everyone seems to have got away well again as they make their way down towards the first corner for the first time in this Grand Prix. In towards the first corner, and Schumacher leads Coulthard. Now Barrichello up to 3rd position, so he's made a decent start. Minassian's also shoved Ralf Schumacher further down the order. But it is Michael Schumacher that leads at the front of the field. Cristiano Damata has been involved in an incident. He's down and possibly out of the race. He seems to possibly be able to get that one pointed direct in the correct direction once more, but in towards turn 6 up the inside. That's Rubens Barrichello making a move there on David Coulthard for second position in this race. It's been a fantastic start for the Ferrari driver as he looks towards the outside of the BAR. There's contact between the two. Barrichello goes skating wide, but he might still have enough grip to make it round the outside, turn to the inside of the 2000 world champion, and it's a fantastic move for Rubens Barrichello up to second position, the sole Ferrari in this race, and he is up into second. Contact as well between Manassian and Alonso as Ralf Schumacher has been shuffled further down the order. Jacques Villeneuve round the outside of turns 9 and then 10 of Patrick Friesacker, but a poor exit from him could present an opportunity back up the inside for the Austrian, looking towards the inside as there is a bit of a kerfuffle further ahead. Manassian looking for a move on Takuma Sato. He's back up into fourth position. He is up into fourth position as Alonso puts the Honda even further down. So the two Hondas have had a shocking start to this Grand Prix.
In the meantime, Wills made up 8 places, Raikkonen 6 places. Raikkonen already back up into 15th. In his quest to somehow get near his teammate, or at least on the podium, to minimize the points deficit he's heading into the next race. Ralf there barges his way through on his teammate. Further behind, I think multiple drivers putting dive bombs on each other.
Friesacker is actually back through on Jacques Villeneuve for 9th position and looks to potentially pounce on getting back into, or rather, back into the points, as it was Zonta who was further behind on the grid. Friesacker's had a poor start. He's lost a place, but looks to get himself back into the place that he started in. That's 8th place now for Friesacker once more in this race. Alonso has now overtaken Nicolas Manassian as well. But at the front of the field, Michael Schumacher has already pulled a gap of 5 seconds ahead of Rubens Barrichello in second. David Coulthard keeping him honest in third. Alonso in 4th, Manassi in 5th, Ralf Schumacher in 6th, Zonta 7th, and Friesacker completing the points, as further behind, Montero and Young have quickly fallen down the order. Montero down 7, Young down 6. He's down in second last, only ahead of Cristiano De Mata, who spun on the first lap.
In the meantime, now Glock has demoted Montero to 23rd, as Villeneuve now looks to make a move on Sato as well. Sato clearly struggling currently in these conditions. Possibly on a heavier fuel, or Villeneuve under braking gets a bit loose. But possibly makes the move down to the next corner, turn 11. Not this time around. Further behind, or directly behind, Kimi Raikkonen now up into 11th, could possibly challenge Villeneuve as Ralf Schumacher is back up into 5th. Coulthard and Barrichello are getting at it, as Alonso's there as well.
So Barrichello looking back up the inside of David Coulthard, almost pushed into the corner is David Coulthard by Fernando Alonso as well, as the battle for second becomes a battle for third, as Coulthard shoves straight down the order. He falls from second to 4th. At the front of the field, though, Michael Schumacher continuing to run away. Manassian has now gotten through ahead of Ralf Schumacher, and Jacques Villeneuve becomes the first retirement of this race. Oh, that was close indeed. Suspension failure there for the Williams driver means he is the first retirement of this Grand Prix, which is a massive shame for Williams in their constructors' battle. Up the inside for Ralf Schumacher, retaliating on Nicolas Manassian through the snail section of turns 1 and 2, and Ralf Schumacher puts himself back up into the place that he started, which was in 5th position. Alonso has now overtaken Barrichello clean around the outside at turn 6, as he now goes and possibly charges after Michael Schumacher, who has pulled nearly a 10-second gap in just over 2, or just about 2.5 laps. 10.6 seconds. Michael Schumacher is pulling away at a rate of knots that no one else seems to be even remotely close to matching. Bouillon further behind. He's been overtaken by Montoya, who has also just overtaken Takuma Sato. Sato falling like a stone at this current stage of the race. Bouillon trying to sneak up the inside. Sato not giving him an inch as they make their way towards turn 9. Unable to find his way through, though, is Jean-Christophe Bouillon. As Pedro de la Rosa, where has he come from?
Where did he
26
come from?
on the grid. He's up in 13th. Another big mention has to go to Kimi Raikkonen, championship leader, 21st on the grid. No matter for him. In 3 laps, he's up 13 places and potentially looking to overtake Ricardo Zonta as well. That's another place gain for Montoya.
9th.
Yes, so Montoya, a good start for him as well, as we'll look at the earned and lost once again. Big changes up and down the field. Justin Wilson up 10 places as well, as Ricardo Zonta's just overtaken Nicolas Minassian. Not many times that you'll see that this season.
Definitely not, but Bouillon now, De La Rosa now ahead of Takuma Sato. Webber also overtaking Scott Dixon. Dixon having dropped 6 positions. As the BAR lost another position to another driver who lost multiple positions, Torazuki Takagi. So currently multiple drivers struggling to accommodate or get acclimated with those conditions, as Heifel now gets past Dixon as well.
Yeah, it seems that Heidfeld certainly seems has a lot more pace than the drivers he's battling right now. He's looking to make places after a poor start that put him down on the fringes of the top 20, actually. He started up in 13th. He's now made his way back up into 17th position as the places continue to chop and change. Mark Webber locking up on the grass.
Move.
Dear me, nearly losing the car completely, but somehow manages to gain a place out of it. Riccardo Sperafico will be wondering, what on earth have I just seen from the Australian? As now the Red Bull looks to try and get through on Sato, who's lost 11 places. No driver has lost more places off this race start than the man who started 3rd, and it's quickly becoming a nightmarish reality for Takuma Sato, who is quickly losing place after place, and we're only on lap 4.
At this point, Honda needs to wonder if they are good enough, or if Sato is even good enough for the soon-to-be customer team or B team, Harrison Motorsport, next season.
Here is Ralf Schumacher closing in on Rubens Barrichello. This is the battle for 4th position, who is in turn going for Coulthard, who is in 3rd place. Coulthard managed to get back ahead of Rubens Barrichello in the intervening lap or so, as Alonso has started to kind of run away from this pack further in front. So Coulthard leaves Barrichello and Ralf Schumacher in the battle for 3rd. Minassian has now got Kimi Raikkonen in his sights further behind. Also welcome in Sampas. How you doing, mate?
Further down the field, Friesek has gotten past Bouillon again, and Mark Webber ahead of Justin Wilson, as D'Amata has now disposed of Thiago Monteiro. So both Minardi's at the back again.
Raikkonen making another place as he moves up to 6th, as on board with Mark Webber. He moves up to 12th position. Bouillon shuffled down yet another place, sorry. Jean-Christophe Bouillon probably wouldn't want to have Mark Webber's car, considering the inconsistencies that it has had this season, as Ralf Schumacher trying to look round the outside of David Coulthard through turn 6, unable to do so as they make their way through the fast winding corners of the middle sector. And I've got to say, these conditions are certainly proving what drivers certainly have the confidence in these conditions, rather than the cars really deciding the performance for them. Drivers such as Ralf Schumacher that we're looking on board with here, really proving that he has got a lot of commitment in that Honda, but none more so than Michael Schumacher, who is continuing to extend his gap out at the front of the field. 15 seconds, nearly a whole pit stop, as that's Raikkonen nearly tipping his car over, trying to get through on Ralf Schumacher. Dear me, that was so close between the Honda and the McLaren. The Honda's now going to probably promptly get on with it now, straight round the outside of David Coulthard through the snail section. So that's now Coulthard down to 5th, possibly even 6th, as Kimi Raikkonen senses a potential move in towards the hairpin. Could it potentially be 3 wide into the hairpin? This could be absolutely chaotic as they make their way in towards the hairpin. 2 becomes possibly even 3. 3 wide! 3 wide into the hairpin. Not many times you'll see this on F1 Challenge. And Raikkonen gets both, just as Nils said. He's past Coulthard, he's past Ralf Schumacher. And that's a fantastic move for the championship leader. 21st on the grid. Who cares? 5 laps in, he's up 17 places.
In the meantime, Sparaffico has now disposed of Jean-Christophe Bouillon as well, with the Frenchman dropping even further positions, now under threat also by Nick Heidfeld. Justin Wilson now on the back of Patrick Friesacker. We were slandering the Rose Toyota drivers, and all of a sudden, at least Wilson has woken up.
Yeah, Justin Wilson really putting in a shift here in the Rose Toyota. He's potentially looking to try and score a second top 10 finish of the season for Rose Toyota, which is currently being held by Della Rosa, who has had an immense start to this Grand Prix. From 26 on the grid, he's up in 10th position. So it's been a worldie of a start for him. Patrick Friesacker not quite up to the scratch of his teammate Ricardo Zonta, despite out-qualifying him. It seems that the Austrian once again on the back foot. He is about 14 seconds behind Zonta at this current stage of the race, as Ricardo Zonta kind of keeping up with this battle now between Raikkonen, Coulthard and Ralf Schumacher for 4th position. So Zonta really putting in a shift in that Boutsen as well.
De La Rosa in the meantime pretty much in a no man's land at the current stage. As Raikkonen now up into 3rd actually, so Raikkonen already back up into the podium positions on lap 6 after starting in 21st. Takuma Sato getting the message, there's no more rain expected in the next 15 minutes.
Michael Schumacher setting the fastest lap there. Is in the 1 minute 58 as Barrichello looking for a move on the McLaren that seems way more superior than any other car out on circuit right now. Alonso is 10 seconds up the road, but I imagine that will be very quickly cut down by the Finn, as Michael Schumacher probably has about a pit stops gap. Yes. Dylan, Kimi Raikkonen does have one victory, was the 2003 Chinese Grand Prix at Zhuhai last season. This season, he has no wins, but leads the championship with 0 wins and a 10-point championship lead, which is very crazy and kind of puts together how chaotic this point system can be, especially if you're a consistent driver. But Michael Schumacher is putting everything on the line to close that gap up. As it currently stands, the gap would be down to 6 points between him and Kimi Raikkonen. The two McLarens really going at it, but Alonso would also, I believe, stay in mathematical contention as it currently stands, as he would be within 11 points, I think. I think it would be 11 points Alonso would be behind,
yes,
with just 2 rounds to go. So this championship is really far from over, as Friesacker really putting the pressure on Mark Webber here. He was dropped by the Sauber team at the end of 2003, and now he's really proving his worth in the Boutsen, unless you look at his teammates Ricardo Zonta, who is doing a fantastic job right now, up in 7th position. Same could not be said, though, for Takuma Sato. He started 3rd, he's now in 18th position. Sparaffico's off further behind in the Toyota. He's lost a couple of places. I think he's had a little spin as D'Amata and him go side by side. The two Brazilians battling over 20th.
Has lost 2 positions.
I think
he
had
also a spin.
Yes, so we'll look at Sparaffico real quick. Where is he? There he is.
I think you had a collision with Sato, possibly trying to make a move on the Japanese driver around the outside.
I missed what meal you had, Gallifreyan, but I hope you enjoyed it. Very clear. Well, you did clearly, because it was a good meal. So, let's see what happened then. With Riccardo Sparaffico. Oh, this is the wrong car, sorry.
Well,
it looks like he's just dropped it. Yeah.
They dropped it under acceleration for the turn 9, or turn 8 actually. Then what happened to Ricardo Zonta? Oh, Menacion happened.
We'll see what the stewards have to say about that. Considering it is wet conditions, he could potentially be let off the hook if they can claim that the low grip conditions caused that. But what are your thoughts on that one, Nils? As here is Mark Webber going round the outside of Pedro de la Rosa. That puts him now up into the top 10.
It was pretty much slow speed, so I feel like a penalty would be on the cards for Menacion, considering that he could see the car in front, as De La Rosa now has a run again because of the superior Opel top speed. But I feel like Manassian should get a penalty for that incident, as Webber is forced out wide. Wilson, in the meantime, goes by and takes both positions, possibly.
Not quite, as he makes his way through the last corner. That's Wilson ahead of Prix and up in 12th position. This is an absolutely storming drive from him right now. We've seen many great drives right now in up and down the field.
Sonta is stuck in second gear. That's possibly off the small collision and some water. Prix now got past Wilson once again. But the potential point score for Boutsen is definitely off the hook now.
And a massive shame for those guys, as this was looking like a fantastic race for one Ricardo Zonta. Patrick Freestacker still in the top 12. But yeah, unfortunate for Zonta, as he'll become the second retirement of this race. Bouillon getting past Nick Heidfeld, as Nicholas Manassian has been awarded a 5-second time penalty for his incident with Ricardo Zonta, which is unfortunately not directly caused, but it has resulted with Ricardo Zonta retiring from the race. There goes his teammate up into 11th position now.
There goes Bouillon.
Yeah, very opportunistic here from Jean-Christophe Bouillon. His experience.
Everybody's stuck
really,
there behind Zonta.
Oh, but Wilson keeps the place, actually, surprisingly. Bouillon kind of being a little bit passive when it comes to getting through, but now he'll make his way through now that there's no longer what could be a yellow flag zone. But Wilson up the inside of the Renault. We've not seen these two teams actually battle with one another all season, but this could be a fantastic battle brewing between the Brits and the Frenchman. It seems that the Renault could potentially have the better straight line speed, but Justin Wilson could just about outbrake him, maybe into the corner. Bouillon kind of squeezing him to the apex, but he'll still squeeze his way up the inside, Justin Wilson, and he'll take 12th position from him. So a good move there from the Briton, as he now plans to try and re-overtake Patrick Freestacker in this race.
In time, Sperfico now obviously up into 21st. Behind Antonio Pizzonia and Cristiano D'Amata, both his compatriots.
Yeah, Manassian spun Zonta around the previous lap. That'll be for Zonta going to the pits.
Yeah.
It seems that Raikkonen's pace seems to have levelled off a little bit. He is catching Fernando Alonso in front, but he is dragging Rubens Barrichello along for the ride, so we certainly could yet see a battle for the final podium place, which would of course be crucial in the Drivers' Championship. Ferrari kind of out of it in the Constructors. I think they're barely mathematically in it, as Rubens Barrichello, a bit of contact there with Kimi Raikkonen.
Now, what can possibly, or where can possibly Raikkonen go if he's catching slowly up to Fernando Alonso? Considering Michael is essentially gone. He has a pit stop gap nearly over the rest of the field.
Barrichello's got a move on Raikkonen. Here is De La Rosa making a same sort of move on Mark Webber. So he's back up into the position ahead of Mark Webber, which is now 9th after Ricardo Zonta's retirement. And now the Opel could potentially, with some retirements or more retirements up in front, could potentially take yet another points finish in this season. But if you are aware enough, I believe, ever so slightly, there is a drying line on the circuit, so it's maybe potential that we could see intermediate running within the next couple of laps.
Possibly, and whoever gets the switch over to the intermediates right could possibly make up massive grounds, but Michael might lap already the grid until that happens. First up, actually, Alex Young soon enough.
Yeah, it's a sobering reality. Even despite the fantastic qualifying session from both Minardis, it seems that they have got absolutely no pace in this race. 10 laps in, and it looks like Young's about to get lapped in this race, which is a shame. Dixon's overtaken Takagi further behind, as Pitsonia puts Sato into 20th position. That is 17 places lost in what is essentially 9 laps in this race. So yeah, it's I imagine that Sato and Honda most definitely will be pleased to be parting ways with one another at the end of the season, which is quite a shame.
I mean, it will be interesting to see. It will be interesting to see if Harrison Motorsport, if Sato can rekindle his career at Harrison Motorsport, or else he might be out for a seat in 2006.
Very much could be the case, as Raikkonen has just overtaken Barrichello through the snail section, but the slipstream benefiting the Brazilian to make his way back up into third place. This battle is far from over between Barrichello and Raikkonen in this race, as the Brazilian looks to put on some good form with Jarno Trulli out of the way. He is the only Ferrari left in this session. If you missed qualifying, we had a shock exit of 4 drivers. Jenson Button in the Jaguar, Felipe Massa in the Red Bull, Ralph Furman in the Dams, and most importantly, Jarno Trulli in the Ferrari, all failing to qualify after the conditions worsened in the session. Those 4 drivers left it too late, and as such, they fell victim to the cut-off point, as here is Bouillon making his way up into 11th place once more in this race, ahead of Justin Wilson. Heidfeld ahead of Friesacker at the expense of 14th position in this race.
Meantime, Pit Sonia and I think Takagi got past Cristiano da Mata. Sonia slowly making his way up the order as well.
Here is James Courtney on his debut in Formula 1. Tricky conditions to get used to, and he's keeping it on the road at least. He's not made any mistakes, but he does have a lack in pace at least, especially considering his teammate Justin Wilson is over 30 seconds up the road at this current stage of the race, but the Australian kind of thrusted into this one with tricky conditions to deal with. He qualified up in 20th, which in itself was fairly impressive, but it's kind of fell apart from him in the race. He'll be hoping to just reach the checkered flag, as Michael Schumacher again fastest lap of the race. Raikkonen has now pulled out over a second gap ahead of Rubens Barrichello in the battle for third position in this race. About 1.1 seconds as they reach the brakes. Raikkonen staying ahead of Barrichello this time into the hairpin. Of course, that would have required a Herculean effort to make his way ahead for Rubens Barrichello, as once more Mark Webber and Pedro de la Rosa swap places at the snail section. We'll see if Pedro de la Rosa again can retaliate in towards the hairpin.
Friesacker out, also stuck in gear, so both gearboxes of the Boutsen failing.
And it's a third retirement for this Grand Prix, the second for Boutsen Energy Racing, and the second gearbox issue. The mechanical issues have hit them heavy and hard in this second half of the season. They were priding themselves on being the last team to suffer a mechanical failure this season, but it has quickly unravelled in the second half of the season. Despite the increase in pace, it certainly seems that reliability has gone in the negative correlation. So for Friesacker, he's going to retire from this race, and I imagine that Thierry Boutsen will be on quite the pub crawl after this Grand Prix. Heidfeld making up yet another place. He's just overtaken Dixon, Bouillon and Wilson in the previous lap. Dixon himself getting ahead of the Renault man, so he's down to 14th position. This has certainly not gone the same way that he was expecting the Italian Grand Prix to go, as he's only fallen backwards rather than falling up the grid, because realistically he didn't make that many overtakes. Jean-Christophe Bouillon in the last Grand Prix kind of benefited from the retirement with a good strategy as well. It fetched him up into 5th place at the end of that Grand Prix, but this time round doesn't seem as easy, although with 3 retirements already in the first 20% of this race, we could be seeing a possible 15 retirements before the end of this Grand Prix.
As the race seemingly, or at least the rain definitely has now eased up even further. So now Wilson once again looking for a move there on Heidfeld. Not close enough to make a move, possibly under threat behind from Scott Dix and Webber now back up into 9th. Webber and De La Rosa once again out on the brink of possible points in this race.
They need to be careful of each other, though. Make sure that they don't involve each other in incidents. They are now direct rivals following that fantastic result for Opel. They are now direct rivals in the Constructors' Championship for 8th position. Opel on 17, and I think Red Bull are on 4 points behind them. So it could still go to the end of the season between that battle, as another battle brewing. Justin Wilson once again ahead of Nick Heidfeld. This is 11th place now for Justin Wilson in this race after Patrick Friesacker has just retired.
And really the race seemingly having come to a standstill, at least in the upper half, as the Mata is scheduled to stop. I fell back up into 11th, Sparafico and Pizzonia in a battle of their own as well. But at the front, seemingly the race has died down at the moment.
It'll be interesting to see for Cristiano De Mata, when he pits, what tyres will he go on to, of course, as the conditions seemingly continue to improve. Could it be intermediates, or will he gamble and go on to another set of wet tyres? I feel like intermediates could be a potential risk in these conditions still, as it looks quite slippery. We've had a number of spins in this race already, as Scott Dixon struggling to stick to the drying line through the S section. Bouillon with a bit of a look through turns 7 and 8, but unable to make an impression on the New Zealander just in front.
Oh, Glock a bit wayward. There's Montoya has now gotten past Ralf Schumacher for 5th. Wilson on the outside there. Barrichello's scheduled to stop. I feel like the crossover point is now.
It could be potentially, as Jaguar are ready in the pits to serve Cristiano De Mata in this race. Montoya now shooting up the road. He's looking to potentially score yet another podium in this season, but he is 11 seconds off Barrichello, and the gap has very quickly opened up. We've missed it, but Raikkonen has managed to pull out some incredible laps to pull out that big of a gap on Rubens Barrichello in such a short span of time. We'll actually look at the previous laps. So Michael Schumacher faster than anyone by a second. Barrichello now in the 1 minute 59, so his pace has very quickly dropped off. He's comparative to the likes of Cristiano De Mata, Riccardo Sperafico and Timo Glock in terms of pace right now. So maybe he made a mistake, and that's why he wants to jump onto maybe a different compound of tyre. We'll see if De Mata is on the intermediates. He is! So he is the first one to make the change and move on to a different compound of tyres as Michael Schumacher begins his 15th lap of the race. De Mata, with a 9.1 second stop, is going to rejoin ahead of James Courtney in 20th position.
Will be interesting to see if or who follows now with the next intermediate. I feel like it's definitely Barrichello being scheduled to stop already, but James Courtney also getting the call now. But will be interesting to see if maybe Alonso gambles on it as well.
Seems that Mark Webber's going to be into the box in the sole Red Bull in this race. And for Barrichello, he's going to make his way into the stop. Further back, we've still got that battle between Mark Webber and Pedro De La Rosa for 9th. De La Rosa at the time being still in front, but this will be crucial for Mark Webber's race. If you can time this intermediate change perfect it, then it most definitely can be exploited to stay in front of Pedro De La Rosa for the rest of this Grand Prix. But as of right now, we'll have to wait and see the lasting effects of that, as Barrichello is going to rejoin somewhere around David Coulthard territory. Into the pits as well then for the Australian of Mark Webber.
Will probably also switch to the intermediates. In the meantime, Glock has now gotten past Justin Wilson. Obviously, with the rain easing up, both Glock and De La Rosa probably come alight as well, considering the Opels are quite horrendous in the rain.
So Barrichello now on the intermediates, and he looks quite pacey actually, right behind David Coulthard right now. So for him, this could be potentially a good decision, considering he seems to have quite a bit more pace than the Scotsman right now. Williams already in the pits. I think they have seen that the Ferrari of Barrichello is stuck behind the wet runner of David Coulthard at this stage of the race. So they think it's the perfect time to fetch him in. And of course, if Honda don't, which I don't think they have, then this could be a way for Williams to have their driver extend a margin over the reigning champion. Up the inside then for Rubens Barrichello as he makes his way up into 6th position in this Grand Prix.
Now, who of the front runners will pit now next up, considering Barrichello's probably going to be quicker now on the intermediates? Front Michael, Alonso, Raikkonen already missed the pit entry. Ralph now getting past Juan Pablo Montoya. He's into the pits for Williams. Sole remaining Williams in this race.
That means that Ralf Schumacher is able to march on, but he has got James Courtney just in front of him, who has just been overtaken by Alex Young because the Australian has made his way into the stop. So for James Courtney, he's about to get lapped by Ralf Schumacher, as he also tries to look for a move on Alex Young as well. The Honda driver will now get through, as Nick Heidfeld and Timo Glock have just come to blows in towards the hairpin. Glock actually got ahead of his fellow compatriot for the top 10 places, but now the Brabham once more is ahead. So, yeah, Nick Heidfeld in 10th position now.
Obviously, with the rain now easing up, any potential free stopper in this race essentially has a guaranteed free stop, considering the tires have to change for everyone here.
Justin Wilson now gotten past Timo Glock. Is now looking to pressure Nick Heidfeld to get himself into the top 10, and he's nearly spun the German around. The Briton really with a lot of pace, but he needs to be patient. These sort of opportunities do not come often for the Rose Toyota team, and this could be a fantastic opportunity of maybe them scoring their first points finish of the season if they can reach the checkered flag. But of course he does not want to be picking up penalties either in that regard. So Opel already in the pits, so that's for De La Rosa. Meanwhile, his teammate is under pressure here from Scott Dixon in the BAR. Maybe looking towards the inside and towards the next corner. No, Glock's gone defensive actually, and will hold on to his place. Or will he? Not quite.
It was actually kind of close, but better exit there by Scott Dixon could possibly slingshot him onto the straight ahead of the Opel. Does so, but remember, that's now the longest straight in F1. And who has the best engine? Yeah, Opel has them, and now, even with his slipstream from Justin Wilson, Glock will definitely sail by.
Potentially looking up the inside is Justin Wilson on... that's Nick Heidfeld, as I think De La Rosa's into the box. Yes, he is. So Timo Glock actually nearly got re-overtaken into the braking zone by Scott Dixon, as he now makes his way up into 11th place in this race. Justin Wilson now 9th. The gap, though, between Barrichello and Michael Schumacher is extending. The pace difference between the two was about 3 seconds before the pit stops and remains to be about 3 seconds after. So we could potentially be looking at a similar condition between the wets and the intermediates at this current stage of the race.
It will be even more interesting who will stop later on in the background, in the foreground there. Glock had a moment with Heidfeld once again, but not close or not able to make the move stick.
Says Michael Schumacher looking to lap the Frenchman of Jean-Christophe Bouillon. This race has certainly not gone the same way that he would have liked in Italy, and it's looking unlikely now that Bouillon is on a realistic chance of scoring points in this race, which is a shame. And is also probably going to bury any chances of Renault being able to challenge McLaren into the final 3 rounds of the season. As Rose Motorsport already in the pits, I've lost where the action is. It's for 9th place as Heidfeld and Glock go side by side through the through the snail section.
Minassian is out.
Suspension failure again.
Damn suspension failure into the braking zone of the hairpin. That's not ideal.
And the sole remaining dams in this race is out of the Grand Prix. A massive shame, as it's about the 6th retirement that Minassian has suffered due to suspension issues, as we've got a multitude of cars into the box.
Now, what's the story currently unfolding here is that McLaren is ready in the pits. That's Raikkonen ready in the pits, so Raikkonen will stop earlier than Michael. Never mind, Michael's also into the pits. But Michael has leapt up to 8th already.
So, Coulthard, Wilson, Dixon, Heidfeld, Bouillon, Sperrifico and Takagi in the midfield, all into the box. This is going to lift Pedro De La Rosa back up the order again. He's now up to 10th position in this race. Pitsonia into 8th place as David Coulthard has...
Takagi's out. What happened to Takagi?
I don't know what's happened with him, but unfortunately his return comes to an end prematurely on lap 19.
Seems like maybe a problem with the car?
Right, there we go. So let's see what happened then. Is it potentially going to be a this pit lane is too busy sort of issue? Yes, it is.
Probably.
Yes. That's a shame for Teranosuke Takagi, as he becomes yet another retirement of this Grand Prix. We're now up to 5 in this one, as Raikkonen into the box for the intermediate tyres.
Now Sato back into 14th position. Still yet to stop, as now Glock is stopping at the end of this lap. Ralf Schumacher into the pits from 4th position. Dixon now stuck behind Sato, losing a lot of time to Justin Wilson and Cristiano da Matta. Also quite interesting. The Heidfeld was in the pits, but he's still on wets.
Yep.
I hope... oh no. Oh no.
I've not finished it up on purpose, as Michael Schumacher leads by now 6 seconds ahead of Fernando Alonso, who's still on the wet tyres. We're about a third of the way through this Grand Prix. Raikkonen in 3rd. He's managed to perform a big overcut on Rubens Barrichello, as he now leads him by 17 seconds. Montoya actually catching the Ferrari now, as he's in 5th. Ralf Schumacher 6th. Glock in 7th, and now Coulthard up to 7th actually, as Glock and Pitsonia are both into the box. Pedro De La Rosa as such will now move his way into the points paying positions, so he could be on course for a points streak here today. De Matta, through all this chaos, is actually up in 9th place, so remember, he was one of the early boxers in this race. He started down in the lower fringes of the top 20, and now he's up in 9th position, which could bode very well for him in this race. He could be potentially on course for another points finish if it stays as it is, with more mechanical failures in front of him. Justin Wilson, through the pit stops, has remained in front of his rivals as well. Alonso now pitting for the intermediates, and he will rejoin comfortably in 2nd position.
That now without a front wing. What happened there? Webber!
Oh, Webber's lost his rear wing on what seems to be somewhere on the main straight.
Oh.
And Sato is also... it seems like Webber's run out of fuel, which is a strange one. We'll get a replay of that one in 1 second. Montoya now setting the fastest lap, so that's a fresh one. And, yeah. Webber...
and Sato unable to do anything about it.
Yeah, so a massive shame for him, as he'll have to fetch his car back to the pits.
Ralf Schumacher now without a rear wing. Oh no.
Oh, what has happened to him? Not entirely sure, but he's lost his rear wing in something down the main straight. Let me write down. Honda rear wing. So this has gone from bad to worse for Honda, as their only chance of potentially scoring points in this race has gone out the window.
I have a strong suspicion what happened with Ralf. Actually.
Oh, it's the Minardi. Oh, it's the Minardi.
Oh,
Oh, dear me.
that's Montero.
Yeah, some sort of issue then with Montero's car, as he was potentially told to do something with his car and he wasn't aware of what happened. He may pick up a penalty for that one, Thiago Montero. And his race has also quickly unravelled. So a lot of incidents are now unfolding in this Grand Prix, as Sato needs to crawl his way back into the pits. James Courtney now will move promptly up into 17th position in this Grand Prix. As I said, Alonso actually comfortably rejoined ahead of Raikkonen. Gap's actually only just under 2 seconds between the two, so this could actually not be over for Kimi Raikkonen getting second place in this race. Of course, Alonso was slightly slower than him in the first stint, but not by all too much. It seems in the intermediate conditions, it seems that Raikkonen has very much got the high ground over the man third place in the championship. Montero is also going to be picking up a 10 place penalty, 10 second time penalty, as his incident with Ralf Schumacher has been penalised.
As now Sato finally made it back into the pits.
Bouillon further behind has overtaken Scott Dixon for 11th place, as Ricardo Zonta, I think, is now battling with Antonio Pittonia. Obi-Wan Raikkonen now looking to try and overtake Master Jedi Fernando Alonso. I don't know much about Star Wars. I'm making it up. And that's another retirement. And that's a big scalp there for Toyota, who now have both of their cars.
To the points.
That's also both Toyotas out of this race. And like you say, correct, D'Amata up into the points with Ralf Schumacher's retirement. And I've got to say, they're dropping like flies at this current stage. 19 drivers left. Make that 18, actually, with Sperrifico. So we've already had 8 retirements in this Grand Prix, as there's a move for Kimi Raikkonen, the championship leader, now up into second position in this race. Granted, he's 43 seconds behind, but this has been a champion's drive from Kimi Raikkonen, from 21st on the grid, don't forget. He's now up into second position, and it seems that McLaren have absolutely no one that can compete with their pace this season, in the second half at least.
Why did it have to be Heidfeld, not Pitsonia? Oh. It's Michael laps Coulthard in 6th already. Minardi already in the pits. That will be Montero once again.
This is a battle actually between Coulthard and De La Rosa for 6th place in this race. Seems that the BAR's front row start was a bit of a false storm for the team, as here goes Pedro De La Rosa. He's up into 6th position now, and his fiery form is certainly continuing here in Shanghai as he looks for another points finish in this season. Up the inside though for David Coulthard. He's nearly tipped the Opel around, but he holds on to it. Pedro De La Rosa, he's now got Montoya possibly in his sights in the Williams BMW. As further back, Scott Dixon versus Justin Wilson for the final place in the top 10. Looking towards the inside is Justin Wilson in the Rose Toyota, and that is 10th place for the Briton. So now Justin Wilson up another position. And I said it was going to be a struggle for Bouillon to potentially score points. He's up in 9th place. I don't know where this has come from, but through the chaos of the midfield, he has managed to benefit massively and now sits just 1 place away from the points, which is held by this man right here, Cristiano Di Matta. Who would have thought that he would have even scored a 2nd points finish, never mind a 1st in Monaco, where he secured his only points so far this season with a 5th place finish. He could be on course now for an 8th place here in Shanghai.
Anyway, at the current stage, only the top 5 still on the lead lap, with Michael already having lapped up to 6th position, which is currently preoccupied by Pedro Della Rosa. Once again, the Opel's looking quick around here. It's expected with the long straight.
Justin Wilson with a good turn of pace versus Jean-Christophe Bouillon, looking towards the inside in turn 9. Unable to get his way through. Bouillon now seemingly possibly has overdone it a little bit on the tyres. He may have scrubbed them a little bit too much, trying to get through on the midfield and trying to run away. Unfortunately, though, he seems that he's pushed a little too hard, and now he has Justin Wilson and Scott Dixon all over the back of him. Round the outside then of the Renault goes the Rose Toyota of Justin Wilson. The Frenchman tries holding him off and does hold him off, but now down this main straight we expect to probably see at least some form of move. Whether that's Dixon, whether that's Wilson, or whether that's Bouillon losing or gaining places, he'll have to wait to be seen. Up the inside later on the brakes is Justin Wilson, and that's a simple move for the Briton as he now moves up into 9th place once more in this race. Cristiano Di Matta is now making his way down towards turn 1, so the gap between 8th and 9th in this race is probably around 10 seconds.
Alonso still on the back of Kimi Raikkonen, or keeping tabs with Raikkonen as it currently stands. McLaren would take a number 1-2 finish, and therefore I'm pretty certain seal the Constructors' Championship.
What is that lead currently?
At 15 points, Bouillon is not in the points. Alonso would get 6 compared to 18. Would still be mathematically open for Renault, but certainly done.
What has happened down at... I don't know what's just happened there down at turn 5, but all the cones seem to have been knocked out. I don't know if that's been a thing that's happened multiple laps ago, but that's the first time I've realised it. Further back, Barrichello has now been caught by Juan Pablo Montoya. We thought that Barrichello could have potentially taken the fight to Fernando Alonso for 2nd in this race, but now he could potentially not even finish in the top 4 here, as Montoya really looking forward to potentially scoring some more points for Williams before his move to BAR. There's contact between him and Rubens Barrichello, but Barrichello just about holding on to that position.
Montoya might have the move done though into turn 11 possibly. But clearly has more pace behind the Ferrari currently as expected, definitely with Rubens Barrichello. Pedro Della Rosa now pitting soon again, possibly could look for the soft tires. Same with Coulthard. So maybe the switch to dry tires is now already.
Could potentially be the case, which could benefit those that are on a 3-stop strategy versus a 1-stop potentially. Yeah, it's a bit of a bug with this track, unfortunately, where a couple of drivers at random will just not have a pit box. Tried to fix it, unfortunately. This is the only version I could find on the entire internet. Says that is Montoya making a collision with Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari through the hairpin. And yeah, Barrichello still holding on to 4th place, but I imagine sooner rather than later he'll lose that place to the Colombian.
Many drivers now pitting from 6th downwards, with Raikkonen also pitting. So there goes Montoya quite convincingly now. But Raikkonen once again earlier into the pits to maybe get some intel from Michael at the front to see how the conditions are. Quite interesting to see how McLaren are doing this with Raikkonen literally in the championship lead, but well.
It could potentially be a risk taken by Kimi Raikkonen, but I say that a lot of drivers are expected to come into the pits, including one Michael Schumacher by the sounds of it. So, actually Schumacher's just driven through, so clearly he's not pitting. So Raikkonen's the one that's supposed to be pitting. There's a red flag in Indianapolis for rain. Oh dear.
Not again.
De La Rosa into the pits then for the second time in this race. He's had a fantastic Grand Prix so far, as he is currently ahead of David Coulthard and Cristiano D'Amata, who is in turn also having a fantastic race so far. And we are seeing the first of the dry tyres. Sato on the dries, Coulthard dries, De La Rosa dries, D'Amata dries. I imagine Dixon will also be on the dries. So, we'll see how this one plays out. Raikkonen into the pits, Alonso staying out. Maybe he thinks that the busy pit lane could potentially hinder a good pit stop here. We'll see what happens then with the championship leader as he makes his way into the stop. It's a long stop here, 9.6 seconds.
Courtney out, gearbox failure.
And his okay debut to Formula 1 unfortunately comes undone with a gearbox issue. And now the only Rose Toyota driver left in the race is Justin Wilson, who still could potentially be on course for his first points for the Rose Toyota team this season. Pitting is Rubens Barrichello. An 8.8 second stop is going to mean that he is, he's going to rejoin comfortably in 5th position. We'll see what happens when Montoya pits, and most crucially, Michael Schumacher, who is staying out again. So interesting strategy down at McLaren, as we'll see if Alonso is pitting. He will be pitting as Schumacher sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 49.4. He's going for the alternative strategy here. He's got time in hand to not risk it. Scott Dixon's fallen down the order further behind. I think he may have made a mistake. As he's fallen behind Bouillon and Antonio Pizzonia, or Justin Wilson.
Pizzonia has not pit yet, so just Wilson and Bouillon. I think Wilson maybe made a move. No, Dixon might have just dropped it.
Let's see then, in towards turn 9.
Oh no, it's Wilson once again on the offense, and this time he actually gets the move done on spinning somebody around.
Oh, and that's possibly going to be a penalty for Justin Wilson in this race. He's up to 10th position, but at what cost? As Montoya now laps the New Zealander of Scott Dixon in this race.
Who in turn in real life is currently leading Polo on lap 105 at the Indy 500. As Alonso now into the pits for a second.
We'll see if this strategy of staying out long will help him stay in 2nd position in this race. It needs to be a good stop from the Renault crew if they want to have him rejoin ahead of Kimi Raikkonen.
So you're now into the pits as well from 9th position. Could see him around Timo Glock once again.
Raikkonen's already through up into 2nd position, so Alonso's not had his strategy go to plan, and as such he will stay in 3rd position. 8.7 second stop for Juan Pablo Montoya, and he will probably rejoin close to Rubens Barrichello. Coming down the main straight is the Brazilian, and out of the pit lane now for Juan Pablo Montoya. The Williams driver will just about stay in front. There's the gap between the Williams and the Ferrari. So Montoya out in 4th place ahead of Rubens Barrichello.
Michael now into the pits with a comfortable lead, nearly a lap ahead of his teammate. Michael definitely has this one already in the bag if nothing major happens for the German once again.
Justin Wilson gets a 5-second time penalty for that collision with Scott Dixon. So third driver with a penalty, of course, alongside Minassian, who will incur a grid penalty due to his retirement, and Thiago Monteiro for that collision with Ralf Schumacher that saw the German eliminated from the race in unfortunate circumstances. At the front of the field, though, Michael Schumacher leads quite comfortably as well, I must say, ahead of the rest of the field. We're on lap 28 of 56. That means we are at half race distance. And the only thing that's probably going to prevent Michael Schumacher from taking victory today is probably going to be a mechanical retirement. He did have so from the lead in the Italian Grand Prix, and he'll hope that fate doesn't strike twice in a row for him and the McLaren team. As it currently stands, the championship gap between Kimi Raikkonen and Michael Schumacher would be reduced to 8 points, as Fernando Alonso would be 15 points behind at this current stage, as Raikkonen has gotten ahead of him. So that's a 4-point swing in that championship battle as well. So it's looking less and less likely that Alonso will take the championship, but never say never in the world of Formula 1. For Montoya, though, he has now built out a 3-second gap ahead, I think. Yeah, about a 3-second gap ahead of Rubens Barrichello, as there is an Opel ever so slightly in the way for Barrichello. Yeah. Yes, it is Glock. So Barrichello held up a little bit. De La Rosa up in 6th position ahead of David Coulthard, who's under pressure actually from Cristiano De Mata. So the BAR massively struggling for pace now that it's on the dry tyres, which is an interesting thing because we haven't
around
seen
the outside.
We have not seen many times this season that Jaguar has outpaced BAR this season, and unfortunately for Cristiano De Mata, the Cosworth power unit is just allowing David Coulthard to reassume his position in 7th position, unless De Mata can go for an outrageous dive up the inside. Coulthard not pleased that he's battling with a Jaguar, so just get past him, mate. He's been unable to. De Mata back up into 7th, brave driving from him, as David Coulthard now sits in the final points position.
Dix in the meantime has gotten past Justin Wilson once again, and now looks for a move potentially on Jean-Christophe Bouillon. As Alonso has gotten past Raikkonen for 2nd.
We'll look at that in a second. We'll look at Scott Dixon making a collision. And that's karma for him, really. Trying to get the move done on the Renault. And he's accidentally lost a place to actually the person who spun him earlier on in the race as well. So Wilson back up into 10th. Coulthard, though, has just re-overtaken Cristiano De Mata to make his way back up into 7th. Further ahead, though, Kimi Raikkonen looking to get ahead of this is Fernando Alonso. The battle for 2nd between turns 2, 3 and 4. And Raikkonen holds firm right behind. So we'll get a replay of what actually happened further ahead.
Montoya with another fastest lap in the meantime. I feel like that's Sato just ahead, potentially holding up Raikkonen into the braking zone, therefore allowing Alonso to outbrake him. And it looks like this, yeah. Raikkonen wanted to cover it, but Alonso was already there, so Alonso making the move into the hairpin, but Sato now holding up Alonso.
And that actually
which allows Raikkonen,
probably, yeah,
to get the run.
He's going to look towards the inside. Yes, just a little bit wide there from Alonso, probably off the line a little bit, and Raikkonen is just going to squeeze up the inside, but eventually was not able to make this move as of right now. He's still on the back of the Renault in towards turn 6. Not quite making his way through is Kimi Raikkonen. So the Renault stays in 2nd for now. And that, of course, changes the championship picture. Schumacher will gain 2 points. Alonso will gain 4 points versus Raikkonen if it were the other way around. So this is crucial for both those drivers to stay in the championship hunt, as Raikkonen still searching for that first victory of 2004. Contact between him and his fellow up-and-coming superstar, Fernando Alonso. Not quite able to make his way through again, though.
De Mata once again gets past Coulthard. All the time Raikkonen goes offline, I feel like he has an engine failure because of the spray kicking up from the still damp offline part of the track.
As there's De Mata re-overtaking David Coulthard to make his way up into 7th position once again in this race.
But further behind. Wilson, Dixon, Bouillon probably also still in their battle for potentially to find a points ping position if something ahead of him, of the three drivers, happens for, well, Coulthard, D'Amata, potentially Della Rosa or Barrichello. Alonso now sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:48.8. As Della Rosa has been reeled in there by D'Amata and Coulthard.
Oh, it has indeed. Yeah, the gap is basically nothing between those guys, as we'll get a interval gap because there's not that many people left on the lead lap. So gap is 1.7 seconds between those two. Scott Dixon has just overtaken Justin Wilson, so he's now up into 9th place, now half a minute off his teammate David Coulthard.
How much fuel did Heifeld have on board that he's still continuing? This could have been points. Anyway, Coulthard now looking for a move potentially once again on the Brazilian down the inside.
Oh, that's a spin
and
there
spins
for
himself
David Coulthard.
round.
Yeah, that was way too late for David Coulthard. Up the inside of the apex of the corner, kind of took himself over the curb, which loosened the rear of the car, and round Coulthard goes, and that's more time gained for Cristiano D'Amata on Della Rosa. Now that he's not got the BAR breathing down his neck, he could probably go and catch after
Pedro Della Rosa.
yeah, after Pedro Della Rosa.
So Raikkonen is out!
Championship leader Kimi Raikkonen out of the race on lap 31 of the Chinese Grand Prix as the championship is implicated per a billion times. So many championship implications, as now it's Michael Schumacher's chance to potentially take the championship lead. If he wins this race, he'll do exactly that. Alonso will move up to 2nd place, Montoya will move up to 3rd.
And therefore Alonso also in for a shout of the championship, only 5 points behind Michael and Raikkonen at this stage then. And once again Pedro Della Rosa potentially up for a top 5 finish.
Della Rosa has really been on fine form as of late, but Cristiano D'Amata's pace has come out of absolutely nowhere in this Grand Prix. No one could have expected the Brazilian to be on such a high. Following Jenson Button's failure to qualify, Cristiano D'Amata has taken this Jaguar by the scruff of the neck and is really wringing everything out of it. But unfortunately for him, D'Amata, in probably one of the slowest cars in a straight line, has got to get past Della Rosa, who's one of the fastest cars in a straight line. So this has really got to... This is going to be interesting, actually, because D'Amata's going to get the move. D'Amata's going to move up to what is now 5th place in this race, but look at the straight line speed difference between the Jaguar and the Opel. Look at that, even in the slipstream, absolutely nothing on Pedro Della Rosa.
Actually behind. Coulthard has closed the gap once again, but D'Amata out of nowhere sends it nearly down the inside.
So for Cristiano D'Amata, he's really wanting to put a second points finish of the season here today. It's unlikely that he'll probably be on the Formula 1 grid for 2005, but there's other sports he could potentially go back to the kart championship, in which he was rumoured to go to for 2002 before picked up by Minardi. I think that's correct. But for him, Cristiano D'Amata could potentially be on the move to the United States, is the main rumour for him in 2005. And we will probably be saying goodbye to him at the end of this season. However, he does want to be going out with a bang, preferably not in the engine department, but with some performances out on track. And 5th place is most definitely up for grabs for the Brazilian as he looks again towards the inside of the Spaniard of Pedro Della Rosa.
Della Rosa now in a huge trouble from behind, but I feel like all of them have to pit again, so it will be interesting to see who is lighter on fuel. I feel like D'Amata probably is the lightest of the three. If not, Jaguar actually has pace for once, as the matter once again slingshots around the outside. But let's watch with Coulthard how quickly De La Rosa rectifies this mistake.
Yeah, you can see the difference in development programs here. Obviously, Jaguar much more efficient in downforce compared to Opel, but the straight line speed deficit, whether it's drag, whether it's the engine department, really holds the Jaguar back, I think, in its main department. I think if it were fast in a straight line like the Jaguar, I genuinely think it would be potentially a points finishing car on a semi-regular basis, but unfortunately it's not the case for the team, and hopefully this would be rectified with Tom Walkinshaw coming into the team next season and rebranding the team to TWR Jaguar for next season, with their lineup of course confirmed to be 2003 world champion Ralf Schumacher alongside 2003 Minardi driver Björn Wertheim.
Mata potentially has a move now into turn 6. If he can make it stick down the inside on the Opel, and I'll drag him, but the next one is a left-hander where De La Rosa potentially can stick his nose in, but not close enough. The Mata has made the move stick. Now Coulthard is on the back of the Spaniard. In the meantime, Scott Dixon is back up to 8th on the road with Wilson 9th.
And this is crucial that De Mata got past there, because he knows that the high downforce is where the Jaguar is benefiting massively versus the Opel.
1.7 of a gap heading into the long straight, so I feel like the Mata is safe from an attack this time around, and potentially Coulthard might be on the move against De La Rosa.
But we do have to remember, not only is there this long straight into the hairpin, but there's also the main straight as well, as we'll watch the gap diminish. 1.7 becomes 1.4, down in towards the hairpin, 0.6 of a second. That's over a second game for De La Rosa down the straight. That's ridiculous straight line speed comparatively. As welcome in Leo Dashi. I also forgot to say welcome in Galactic Stag as well. I forgot to say hello to you. But welcome in everybody. Derby Saw as well. I'm assuming I've missed James Rigger's career mode. Oh dear.
Oh,
what's he done now? I'll find out. I'll find out after the stream. But yeah, you've just missed out. Kimi Raikkonen, championship leader, has just retired with suspension problems. So as it currently stands, him and his teammate Michael Schumacher would be level on points into the final 2 races of the season. We're watching right now the battle for 5th between De Mata, De La Rosa and David Coulthard. I don't think there could be any further apart in terms of car characteristics, as De La Rosa once again trying to pay the favour back to Cristiano De Mata. Unable to find his way through though, but De La Rosa not wanting to let this 5th place go. He got a 3rd place in Monza, did De La Rosa, and now he's looking forward to potentially scoring 4 more championship points as it currently stands. Further back, meanwhile, Jean-Christophe Bouillon in the Renault has just overtaken Scott Dixon, as Justin Wilson currently resides in the points, but we do have to remember Manassian, 5 second time penalty, as sorry to interrupt myself there. Pedro De La Rosa has just overtaken Cristiano De Mata, so Manassian, 5 second time penalty. Oh, something else to talk about. Scott Dixon out of the race.
Dixon's out.
Suspension failure for him, and a shame for him, as he was looking potentially to score some more points in his Formula 1 career. He's only scored points once this season so far, as that is Cristiano De Mata now getting overtaken by David Coulthard. So once again, this is the order as what it was 10 laps ago. So penalties: Manassian, 5 second time penalty for spinning Ricardo Zonta. Montoya crashed into Ralf Schumacher and as such has a 10 second time penalty, and Justin Wilson has a 5 second time penalty for spinning around Scott Dixon earlier in the race. So as it currently stands, Justin Wilson would be behind Jean-Christophe Bouillon, but the 3-horse race for the final point now becomes a 2-horse race between a Rose Toyota and a Renault. Don't know when this has happened, when this would ever happen again, I should say, but certainly an interesting race that we found ourselves in, with a lot of the order shaken up from the crazy qualifying that we had. First of all, qualifying was also quite immense, as the intermediate conditions quickly became wets And those drivers that didn't set good lap times or didn't set lap times at all earlier on in the session were knocked out. So Jenson Button in the Jaguar failed to qualify for the first time this season. We had Felipe Massa for the second time this season failed to qualify. Ralph Furman for the first time this season as well as the Ferrari. You'll quickly realise Jarno Trulli isn't on the grid. Where is he? He qualified in 30th. He didn't get a lap time on the board in the intermediate conditions, and as such qualified in last position and failed to qualify. With it, his championship aspirations, his ever so slight ones that he had, just non-existent now. He's out of the championship hope, and it's now down to 3 in the championship. It's Alonso, Schumacher and Raikkonen, and with Raikkonen out the race, it's Schumacher and Raikkonen level on points, with Alonso just 5? I said 4 and 5 at the same time. It's 5 points. 5 points behind for Fernando Alonso with just 2 rounds to go as it currently stands. And that is your recap of the Chinese Grand Prix. Oh, Justin Wilson's off.
Wilson's spun round.
Don't know what's happened to him, but Jean-Christophe Bouillon has now taken his place in 8th, and maybe he could start to pull away in this race and potentially score his second points finish in a row in the Renault. We'll see what happened though between Justin Wilson and Jean-Christophe Bouillon.
Maybe Bouillon. Oh no, I think. Oh, yeah, Bouillon now down the inside makes the same mistake as a compatriot, Menacion, and tipping around Justin Wilson. So Wilson and Bouillon probably now both on the 5-second time penalty, and so the battle between those two is open.
It most certainly is a 5-second time penalty for Jean-Christophe Bouillon for spinning round Justin Wilson. So now they're on level terms in terms of penalties, with pits only half a minute behind. They can probably be hammer and tongue with one another for this final points position. Of course, Renault probably will fall out of championship contention regardless, but Rose Toyota have not scored a point at all this season, and it would be their first points since the San Marino Grand Prix of 2003, since the last time we saw a Rose Toyota, and also the first time that we saw them score points in Formula 1, with 5th place courtesy of Benoit Trellier.
Once again, Coulthard close on the back of Pedro de la Rosa, as there's still spray kicked up behind the cars on the, well, not racing line. Oh, Gamata once again looking for a move, but not close enough to even lounge down the inside of the Scotsman.
Rain again in Indianapolis, as Coulthard has now gotten past Pedro de la Rosa. So, let's see what Pedro de la Rosa can do. Hello, Coulthard. Goodbye, Coulthard. And he moves his way back up into 5th place once more in this race. I'm also melting. I'm assuming Nils is also melting. We're all melting.
Yes.
Heidfeld on wets again. It's a book. How is he not retired from this race?
I'm confused.
How has he gone 37 laps on the same fuel? What? There's a problem where at random some drivers won't be able to pit for a pit stop. Hello, Zavesh. Welcome in. It's roasting, mate. It is James. It is James. It's flipping roasting. This is light work for you. Oh, Justin Wilson's got past Jean-Christophe Bouillon, and that is actually now for position in this race. So Justin Wilson in the Rose Toyota, now ahead of Jean-Christophe Bouillon. I imagine, though, we're yet to see the last of the pit stops in this race, as we've seen all the drivers pretty much do 2 stops in this race. I'm not going to check how many pit stops Nick Heidfeld has done. Or should I? Should I check how many pit stops he's done?
Nah. Don't need to.
Oh, dear me.
Will be interesting to see if more drivers retire and if he can finish the race on his front wheel loads.
That would be a sight to see.
I expect the tires to be absolutely shredded.
Yeah. Well, the rest of the drivers, I should say, not the AI, the drivers are out there on the soft tires, so temperatures will be going through the roof. Heidfeld showing James Courtney how it's done. Well, we do have James Courtney on the grid currently, as he's replacing Benoit Trellier, who is serving a race ban following a crash at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. He was running fairly well until a gearbox failure saw him retire from the race. However, his teammate is up in 8th position.
No contact, but Coulthard keeps the car pointing in the right direction of De La Rosa.
Yes, as it currently stands, Raikkonen will lose the championship lead on countback to Michael Schumacher. Raikkonen has 0 wins to Michael Schumacher's what would now be 7 wins in this season. So, no matter what, Michael Schumacher has got the advantage in terms of countback.
Down the inside now, Coulthard once again, but not close enough. Under braking.
I've run out of drinks, so I'm going to be right back. I'll leave you on this battle with these guys.
Good. Potentially now heading into the hairpin once again. Coulthard might have to run on Pedro De La Rosa for 5th position. Will be interesting, essentially, for the championship fight between Opel and Jaguar. Opel on 17 to compare to Jaguar's 10 points. If something happens to Pedro De La Rosa, Jaguar could overtake Red Bull and also in the same turn get closer to Opel once again, with maybe the matter getting past Coulthard for 5th position. Meantime, Michael extends his race lead at the front, now nearly a minute ahead of Fernando Alonso, soon to lap Rubens Barrichello for the first time, so the top 3 would be on the same, only on the lead lap. Heidfeld still on his first fuel load on the wets out there. I hope he runs out of fuel soon so nobody crashes into him or he crashes into anybody himself.
I've got a good joke.
Go on.
So, the temperature in this room is rising quicker than the Opel does in a straight line. What does that make me? It makes me Pedro De La Rosa. You can all leave now.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God.
Oh, I got my nice bottle of refrigerated water. I'm enjoying it very much.
Yes.
Time out. That's fine. That's fine. I will happily leave this room, considering it is very hot. But I'll unfortunately, for the viewers, I will stick around.
I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Heidfeld still going.
Mid-joke, end stream. Okay. Well, that's been the Chinese Grand Prix, guys. Bye. Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
I like how I did the end screen and more people joined. That's actually hilarious. You're Jean-Christophe Boiling.
Oh, Jesus. Hello, Nick Heidfeld.
Bro's just here for vibes at this point.
Bro's defending still. The commitment.
POV, I turn from the Opel into the Brabham when I've got a tan, because it's so hot. James had a webcam failure. I heard some things, James, that you have been you've been rigging your championship. No, that's spray. That's spray, not smoke. Unless it is smoke. Is it smoke? No, it's not smoke. I've heard that you've been rigging your championship. So here is Damata and Coulthard. No longer battling because nice Cosworth engine there for Cristiano. Tried it around the outside there, but unable to find his way through. The evening is still young.
Oh, it's not getting better.
You've done no such thing? Really?
Yeah, really?
What track was it?
Hungary, I think.
Was it Hungary?
Was it Hungary?
Hungary doesn't seem like a...
Was it alright?
No,
Wait.
it's later than...
Oh,
It's,
Portugal. Oh yeah, I know what is happening. Probably the chicane and the last corner. As Barrichello's pitting.
The chicane isn't in that version.
Oh yeah, and it's the final
15
corner.
drivers lost their rear wings.
Yeah, the final corner.
James, did you not test this beforehand? I could have given you a version that has a fixed AIW. I've got some real nerve to be making these sort of jokes. I do.
I'm amazed on Heidfeld keeping up with Montero on shredded wets.
It's so hot here, I'm all Emmanuel and sweaty.
That's actually a brilliant one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh, hello.
Now Barrichello, that's Barrichello into the pits. Brabham, that's Pitsonia? Can only be a Pitsonia because I don't think the pit stop finally fixed itself for Heidfeld.
Nah, he's at the final corner anyway, Heidfeld.
But they were lapping each other.
Good things come to those who don't fix the AIW. Question mark. Justin Wilson has now managed to pull away quite nicely ahead of Jean-Christophe Bouillon, but with the Ferrari of Rubens Barrichello into the box, as is now, and there could be potentially a pit stop coming Justin Wilson's way, which could eventually see him fall outside of the points places, which would be a shame for him, as... Hello, Heidfeld.
Bye, Heidfeld. See you next lap. Then actually faster through the pits, so maybe he's sped in the pits now. So Rubens now is one lap down as well, so only the top three on the lead lap.
Oh, that's funny. It actually was Heidfeld that was called into the pits. Why? I don't know. Wait! I think I know what's about to happen.
Oh, he's running out of fuel then.
I think he's about to run out of fuel.
Yeah. Where is he? Is it the one at the left-right, the fast left-right, potentially?
Yeah.
I expect Heidfeld to stop anytime soon, therefore. Probably the next 2 laps. Yeah,
oh,
that's
this is
Heidfeld.
going to be
That's
insufferable
all.
now, for Christ's sake. I was thinking Pedro de la Rosa is about to overtake Montoya. No.
Yeah. I thought as well.
But Coulthard has now caught up again to Pedro de la Rosa. He'll need to get that move done similar to what Cristiano Di Matta did in towards this corner here, turn 6.
Quite difficult when the guy in front of you has slipstream and the most powerful engine. As Michael sets another fastest lap.
I think that was into the 1 minute 47s now in this race.
Correct.
So Schumacher really pulling out the gap over Fernando Alonso. Probably will exceed a minute before the end of the race. Way! He's out!
He's out!
Do we need a replay? No.
No. At least he didn't get any damage, so no damage report for that. Yippee.
Yeah. De La Rosa's that fast compared to Montoya's about to unlap himself. Up the inside for Pedro De La Rosa. And he's made his way.
Fire it away.
Montoya's into the pits now anyway, so that's not really going to matter all too much.
Maybe he has lost some time to Barrichello as Coulthard now sets the fastest lap of the race.
For a second it was De La Rosa as well with the fastest lap of the race, so yeah, it certainly seems to be massively improving out there right now, as I'll expect though that Michael Schumacher
in this series. Whoever drives for my team.
Yes, that's for Nils. Me? No. Not really.
Well, actually, no. Whoever drives for my team and is not called Antonio Pizzonia.
Oh yeah, I've just realised that I've got a team next season, so I kind of have a... I don't...
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't even... It's just going to be like any other AI run team, so... To be honest, no, I don't have favourites. I'm just
I mean,
here.
I'm a Alonso and Raikkonen fan, so those two would be my favorites, but I'm not that sad on them. That's probably De La Rosa already in the pits.
Yes, it will be.
As Montoya has now been also lapped, so only Alonso remains on the lead lap. Also, I ran Brabham at the current stage, which will be rebranded to Austrian Grand Prix next season. And I'm actively looking at P10 and hoping nothing else happens in front. Why did it have to be Heidfeld and not Pizzonia who had the bug?
Funny you say that, because in some test races, Pizzonia did have the bug.
Yeah, I know, I was there when you tested them, and Pizzonia was the one that constantly had the problems. De La Rosa now into the pit, so releases Coulthard and then Mata into fifth and sixth position. Like De La Rosa still seemingly clear of Justin Wilson behind.
Yeah, it should come out in 7th place. De La Rosa. I imagine, though, that potentially Coulthard will go to the end. De Matta might pit before the end of this race, as that was a interesting... Oh, hello.
Montoya.
Third. Lap ahead of now 7th place man Pedro De La Rosa.
Who's now 2 laps down, as Joseph Newgarden had a big incident, as it seems, at the Indy 500.
I do want to say that the quality in the commentary has very much taken a steep decline, because I am just...
Yes.
I am very much just waiting for this race to end, as I predicted, though, for Cristiano Di Matta. He is into the box on the end of lap 46. He cannot go any longer on his fuel, as we probably are expecting that the fuel has probably made the strategies a little bit balked in that sense. And as such, yeah, D'Amato's going to be into the box. We'll see, though, if he could potentially get the overcut done on Pedro de la Rosa, who's found himself in a bit of traffic with Alex Young, who, funnily enough, if another retirement happens in this Grand Prix, will match his season's best of 12th place at the Belgian Grand Prix, but would be a lot less impressive, considering he's only ahead of his teammate Thiago Monteiro.
Young also 4 laps down, as D'Amato now up to his pit crew. I mean, if 4 more cars retires, Young could potentially go up to 9th, and if Wilson is one of the cars retiring, he could single-handedly put Minardi ahead of Rose Motorsport.
Alternatively, if Alex Young sees 5 retirements in front of him, not including Justin Wilson, then Boutsen Energy would be the only team without a point this season.
Yeah.
Anyway, for Pedro de la Rosa, he's rejoined once again ahead of Cristiano D'Amato. So this race between D'Amato and de la Rosa will go to the end of the Grand Prix. The final 10 laps for these guys, as Michael Schumacher is on lap 47.
And probably taking it easy at the front now with his teammate out. A 1 minute lead over his next competitor. And nothing really to look at in terms of having troubles around. Only cars that he sees are the occasional lap cars at this point in the race. With even the lap comparisons right now being around 4 temps or occasionally 8 temps between him and Alonso in second. So currently the McLaren definitely set to take the championship lead. So Alonso will also move further into the championship lead, now on 70 points as it currently stands. And therefore would be in for a definite shout now as well.
Yes, it doesn't seem that Alonso does have the outright pace against the McLarens, but certainly the Renault seems a lot more reliable than the Mercedes-powered cars. So never say never for Fernando Alonso winning this championship, even despite his horrible form mid-season, where I think he had 4 retirements in a row or something like that. He has bounced back in Monza, taking victory, and is on course for another 8 points here today. And it would, like Nils says, puts him within 5 points of the championship lead, with 20 up for grabs. So we are definitely looking at a 3-horse fight now, with Kimi Raikkonen retiring earlier on with suspension issues. 14 drivers left in this Grand Prix, one of the least that we have seen this season. The least actually was the Monaco Grand Prix, where we had, I believe, 12 drivers reaching the checkered flag. So we just need 2 more retirements to match that. I guess Coulthard is not pitting yet. I would hazard a guess that he's not pitting again, considering he was struggling for pace versus De La Rosa and D'Amato. I think he might just, have more fuel in the car because of it. Speaking of, he's about to lap De La Rosa's teammate, Timo Glock, who is running in 11th place right now.
On the inside, easy move done. Glock being quite easy on that one. With De La Rosa obviously nearly 20 seconds behind.
See, the thing is though, the commentating may be crap, but at least it's not wrong. Unlike the engineer in the game that for the past 3 laps that Michael Schumacher has crossed the line has said that there's been 10 laps to go.
I have not noticed that, because I didn't pay attention to it, actually.
So, here is Justin Wilson in 8th position, and currently on course to score Rose Toyota's... Nearly spun there. He very nearly spun through turn 1 there.
Yeah.
Rose Toyota's first points of the season. It would, of course, not lift them any places in the championship. They'd stay in 13th in the Constructors, but it would pay back all the horrible retirements that they have... all the bad luck that the team has had, all the retirements that they've had, the massive crashes that the team has had, the race ban that Trellier has had in this Grand Prix, and Justin Wilson has just really been able to lock in this race through the intermediate conditions. We thought he maybe dropped back through the dry conditions now that the pace of the Rose Toyota was shown. No, he's just pressed on even further, outpacing Jean-Christophe Bouillon in the Renault. Please don't spin Barrichello, thank you. And yeah, could definitely be on course for his first points finish of the season, unless he is to pit before the end of this race. That's 4 laps in a row that he said there's 10 laps to go, as Bouillon is well within a pit stops gap. I might as well just pull up the interval gap because there is literally no information to show on the leader gap. The gap between the two is nearly 17 seconds actually, so a splash and dash could potentially actually keep Justin Wilson in the fight for 8th position if he needed to, but Barrichello is really being a nuisance to the Briton right now.
Definitely. And considering that, I feel like definitely that Wilson might be going on until the end now as he passes Rubens Barrichello now. We'll definitely have to let him go again.
This could potentially hold him up though in the long run. He might have been better staying behind Barrichello, unless he can just pull out the blue flag gap.
I mean, he's currently doing it and also getting closer to a potential lap car of himself there.
Keep the foot down. He might be actually pulling away here, maybe. If he gets ahead of the Minardi, he could actually pull away.
He's definitely pulling away at the moment, but I feel like Montero or Young, that's Alex Young.
It certainly seems that that was so unnecessarily from Barrichello, as there goes Justin Wilson lapping Alex Young.
And Rubens now down the inside on Young as well, and Wilson also tries to get Justin Wilson.
9 laps remaining.
I could have a look at that, yeah, Benny. I could. How is a Rose passing a Ferrari? Maybe the heat's also getting to Rubens Barrichello. It is 35 degrees in China, supposedly, which is quite warm, especially considering it's been raining.
Probably was like a monsoon-like type temperature.
Crucially though, for the race, Bouillon here could have his race undone if Wilson is to pit by his teammate lapping him towards the end of a Grand Prix. Of course, we saw Bouillon's chances to get past Timo Glock extinguish after Fernando Alonso lapped his teammate in the final lap of the race, and Bouillon having to let his teammate through could extend that gap further to potentially 20 seconds. Yes, 20.2, in which Justin Wilson, with a pit stop, could potentially still come out in 8th place if he needs to, of course. Further ahead, De Mata has caught up to Pedro de la Rosa, so this battle for 6th place in this race is far from over between the green machine that is the Jaguar and the yellow and blue that is the Opel. Benny, leave me alone, bro. Leave me alone.
Benny, you want to talk after yesterday.
Anyway, here's Cristiano De Mata. Clean around the outside.
Around the outside.
Anyway.
And now let's see how fast De La Rosa gets by this time. Here we go.
Meow. Oh, back up the inside there for Cristiano De
Oh,
Mata.
what the?
There's contact between the two. But De La Rosa keeps the position, so he is staying ahead for now. But with Michael Schumacher now on his 52nd lap, there is now 5 laps to go for these guys to decide on who will finish 6th place in this race.
I feel like the race currently is definitely in its cooldown phase compared to us. As basically every position bar De La Rosa Mata has been sealed. As the Mata gets impatient, if he's not careful, he might actually not get this position because of his antics.
De Mata kind of being impatient. He needs to do a similar move to what he did earlier in the race. Up the inside at turn 6 and then pull away through this downforce dependent middle sector. And then hold on to it through the last 2 straights. I think if he did that on the final lap, he'd certainly he'd possibly hold on to that gap ahead of Pedro de la Rosa. But as of right now, Cristiano De Mata has got it all to do to get past Pedro de la Rosa. Of course, he'll get through here with the increased or the better performance through the downforce. But hello, de la Rosa. I'll take that position, thank you very much. And that is him back up into 6th place once again in this race.
Once again, though, looks for a move there and nearly tips De La Rosa around again. So De La Rosa probably not happy with the Brazilian's antics behind him. But I feel like if De Mata gets the move done at any point now, if De La Rosa probably gets the move back on the Jaguar driver. So
other important news as well that Justin Wilson has now extended his gap to Jean-Christophe Bouillon to 25 seconds, which is pretty much what you need for a pit stop around here.
Yeah.
So even if he needs a pit stop within the last 3 laps, like I say, I had been saying, he's going to score a point here today.
Considering though, if he pits now and comes out ahead of Bouillon probably has the faster car, so potentially could get a battle between the two of them. But I don't see Justin Wilson pitting anytime soon.
I think Nils would prefer if De Mata did not have a quote-unquote brake failure into the hairpin.
Oh, hell no.
Considering one Antonio Pizzonia is...
There's nothing to gain in the championship. I would prefer if it's a boring race till the end.
Once again, De La Rosa back through on Cristiano De Mata. Is that Alonso lapping Barrichello? No. Who was that? Is that... Oh, Justin Wilson's put the back of De La Rosa and De Mata.
Yeah, he is.
I didn't even realise.
He has a 5-second time penalty, so it's not really anything of note.
You dropped the hoover on your foot. Oh dear.
Oh sheesh.
Oh dear.
Making me run a route for Pizzonia. No! Mo!
Of course, Wilson is fighting for potentially more than 8th place in this race with his 5-second time penalty. So even if he does manage to find his way up into 7th place before this checkered flag falls, he will need to pull out a gap of 5 seconds, which of course is going to be a bit more difficult. The only way that that's realistically going to happen if his De Mata spins round Pedro de la Rosa.
Which could happen anytime soon, because De Mata is quite impatient behind the Spaniard. There he goes again.
D'Amato again, round the outside. We've seen that move about 5 laps in a row now. And we've seen this move 5 laps in a row now as well. Hello, my name is Pedro de la Rosa, and I am faster than you in a straight line. Well, this could be actually interesting. Barrichello's caught up to the back of this pack. And as such, could potentially split these guys up as D'Amato nearly tipping around De La Rosa again down at the hairpin. In fact, D'Amato's let through Barrichello and now has Justin Wilson right behind him for company in this race. Naturally, may have a look towards the inside and towards the first corner. Looking towards the inside is Justin Wilson, nearly losing it under brakes. Cannot quite find his way through as we begin the penultimate lap with these guys. For Michael Schumacher, though, he is soon to begin the final lap of this Grand Prix to take his 7th win of the season, and with it, for the first time this year, the championship lead. Oh, that's contact.
Oh, contact!
A bit of a too late of a late braking move there for Justin Wilson as he runs into the back of D'Amato slightly.
Please, Wilson, keep your head and don't pin it with both cars in front of you. D'Amato not on the inside. Wilson nearly spinning himself round.
Wilson looking very impatient to make this place up, as Cristiano D'Amato still looking for any way through on Pedro de la Rosa. Maybe if D'Amato and Wilson get through on de la Rosa, it could benefit the Brazilian, as there's your driver of the day vote. Montoya, de la Rosa, Alonso. I'd honestly give it to Raikkonen, considering the charge that he made through the field. Actually, D'Amato's not made the move on Pedro de la Rosa. Could this be the opportunity that Justin Wilson needs down this straight? Cosworth versus Toyota, and of course, if it's not Cosworth, it's going to be faster than it, including the Toyota. Down the inside, then in towards the next corner, which is turn 14, and that's a move on track at least for 7th place in this race. Remember, 5-second time penalty for Justin Wilson, so he needs to now pull a 5-second gap somehow in the next lap, as Pedro de la Rosa now begins his final lap of the race in 6th position and just ahead of the Briton.
Wilson now potentially actually can make a move down De La Rosa, and he does so quite convincingly through turn 1. But obviously he, on his 5-second time penalty, won't benefit from this, but D'Amato might. But De La Rosa had this one covered.
And obviously, if De La Rosa holds up Cristiano D'Amato in the middle sector, we've seen how much time De La Rosa loses in that middle sector, to the point where D'Amato actually gapped him by 2 seconds. Wilson's already over a second in front. As we now cut to the front of the field, Michael Schumacher, from start to finish, has been absolutely untouchable. Rounding the final corner, it's going to be a win in Shanghai, a 7th of the season, and with it, the championship lead for what could be a record-breaking 6th world title with 2 races to go. Fernando Alonso should be able to come home in 2nd, and Montoya completing the podium, but the eyes are now on this battle.
De La Rosa's 2.2 seconds behind.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough, as De La Rosa's going to be quite fast in a straight line here, but D'Amato's trying every which way to try and not lose 5 seconds here to Justin Wilson. It's almost certain that he's not going to be finishing ahead of Pedro de la Rosa, but can Justin Wilson get another place? De La Rosa 2 seconds behind Justin Wilson. He needs 5, the Briton, to take any extra places.
I don't think he's gaining 2 seconds on D'Amato behind in the final corner.
I don't think he's going to either. Wilson out the final corner. It'll be 6 on track, but De La Rosa will take that 6th position. D'Amato in 7th. Justin Wilson, though, will still get 8th place for his troubles. So a fantastic race for him as Rose Toyota score their first points of the season. But at the front of the field, Michael Schumacher, championship lead, the race win, the pole position, the fastest lap. Perfect weekend for him as teammate Raikkonen retires. Alonso now just 5 points off the championship lead as another podium goes the way of Juan Pablo Montoya. Barrichello 4th, Coulthard 5th on his return. De La Rosa will be 6th ahead of D'Amato and Wilson. Bouillon will be disappointed to finish outside the points in 9th, followed by Pitsonia, Glock, Sato, Young and Montero. 14 finished and 12 retired. Heidfeld, Dixon, Raikkonen suspension failure, James Courtney on his debut, Riccardo Spadaffico, Ralf Schumacher crashing with Thiago Montero, followed by Webber, Takagi on his return, Manassian, Friesacker, Zonta and Villeneuve all retiring from the race. What are your thoughts on this Grand Prix then, Nils?
Definitely a masterclass by Michael. Alonso obviously having a good race as well, but I feel like Raikkonen now has lost the championship with his suspension failure. Because I don't see him gain any points on Michael in his current form. Only way that is going to happen is if Michael once again suffers a mechanical failure.
So for Michael Schumacher, for the first time this season, he takes the championship lead on countback ahead of his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. McLaren have almost certainly wrapped up the constructors ahead of Renault, although not mathematically. So that battle will also rage on into the next race, which will be next week. Hopefully should be next week at least. Sometime around the same time. I don't know if there is a real life Grand Prix next week. Is it the Monaco Grand Prix next weekend in real life?
Maybe.
So if there is, then there'll be a time change in the stream next Sunday, but it will certainly be the 2004 Japanese Grand Prix. I greatly appreciate all you joining us today on this absolutely searing day today. At least in Europe it's quite warm, but yeah, thank you for everyone who has joined us today, and that's going to be all from me and Nils in today's stream, and goodbye.